It's adventure time, everyone, on Deep Dive Zone, the Sonic review series for fans of all shapes and sizes. I'm your host, Devin, joined by my co-hosts, Lauren and Bruce. And guys, thank God we're finally here, because this is where stuff really is just happening so much.
Stuff's actually like kicking into high gear again, which is really nice.
Yeah, we have an actual event story here in the comics. You know, we were a little disappointed with 100, maybe a lot disappointed,
Yeah.
I don't know. But the 125 lead up and arc is better.
Yeah.
But we're not quite there yet. So we're starting here with Sonic the Hedgehog number 121, proudly labeled the Elias comeback you can dance to. I assure you it is not.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not really.
This is probably the most unremarkable issue here. It's not
I guess.
complete dog shit, but it's like
No, it's just like this is a minor major story beat.
It would be fine in any other episode, but in this episode that's full of crazy stuff, it's pretty lame.
Yeah, that's true.
But this is The Revolution, drawn by Ron Lim, written by Benny Lee. I'm gonna have to keep doing those air quotes for a while, unfortunately. Unless one of you guys wants to, like, make a Wheel of Fortune guess as to what his deal is.
I think I figured it out, but I'm gonna wait.
Well, no, if I don't have to do it as much, that's better. Tell me.
Oh, is this just Ballers?
Yeah, it's just Ballers. I don't know why he created
Okay.
another persona.
Haven't other writers already done that?
Yeah, but not who were still currently writing concurrent with that.
Oh, in that case, yeah, I don't understand.
This
that.
feels
That's a good
exactly
point.
the same as his other stories. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't understand the purpose of that.
Well, okay, we made it. Good job.
All right, cool.
Anyway, let's talk about this story. Sonic and Sally are tasked with following Jeffrey and Hershey and recovering the missing Prince Elias, but they are surprised to find that he's crafted an entirely new life for himself.
Elias doesn't get to be happy.
Yeah.
Well, they're one of the acorns, so yeah.
Fair. Yeah, the acorns aren't allowed to be happy.
Yeah, it's like, bring my son back. He's too, he's smiling in our portrait. We need him to not resent that too much.
We need to repaint it so he's frowning.
Right.
Yeah, that's what Sonic should have suggested. That'd be way quicker.
Honestly, yeah.
But
We start with Jeffrey and Hershey because they actually went off. I was surprised that I would expect the story to just center on them, but no, then Sonic still has to come into it later. I guess it's not for a little bit, at least. It just feels like they went off to do a thing, and the comic was like, no,
we got to resolve this quickly and throw Sonic in there.
Yeah, it kind of threw me off. But what throws me off also is that they misspelled Miles for some reason with a Y when Jeffrey is talking about how there are no miles per hour. Which two things here, because the other thing is what is Tails a famous pilot or something now?
I mean, he's flown the tornado enough that he might be.
Yeah, but he hasn't really, like... It's like...
Has he done anything really impressive?
And he's flown back and forth between missions. That's about it.
Sure.
It's not like...
Yeah, I guess has Tails done anything really impressive in the tornado?
He hasn't gotten into dogfights much. Yeah, so that's a bit odd. I definitely... If they had made this a solo Jeffrey Hershey story, I definitely think that would have given it more of a voice.
Probably. Making this the main story of the issue kind of makes
it... made them have to put Sonic in there, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, because we can't have an issue without Sonic.
Well, and I mean, that would still be dependent on, can we make Jeffrey balanced between Jeffrey and likable, and can we give Hershey any personality at all? Yeah, so it'd be a risk, but,
Sure.
Anyway, so, yeah, they get chased by missiles, but, have to make an emergency landing in Feral Forest?
Whatever that is.
Another random Mobian settlement that we've never heard of.
This one I can believe more than Furville from last time, because that looked like an
this
actual
one,
city.
Yeah, this is just like a village in the forest.
Yeah, it's just some huts.
Right. This is just...
So they touch down, and Elias is actually here, which is, I guess, a complete coincidence.
Yeah, because they were Hershey and Jeffrey were just here to warn them about Eggman.
Well, no, so they say that Elias Trail led them here, so I guess it was just that they were lucky to get shot down where they were.
I guess so.
Let's talk about Elias, though. he is already married to this woman named Meg, who is very pregnant.
You know, it's
Yeah.
funny because I thought the sense of time was hard to decipher, and then these comics were like, well, we're gonna make it even harder now.
Okay,
I mean, my immediate assumption was that it's that she was already pregnant when he showed up.
No matter what explanation you go with, this is kind of crazy because he's been gone for, I don't know,
Not that long.
a couple months at the absolute most. Even then, maybe just a couple weeks.
He went and got married.
Yeah, and you are correct. It's not his kid.
I didn't think so. I meant that would really not make sense with how clearly pregnant Meg is.
Yeah, because the timeline wouldn't.
Well,
right.
Still, he really rushed into that one, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think he just. My guess, just wanted to get away from parents and any resemblance of royal duty.
They can't force me into an arranged marriage with another kingdom if I'm already married.
If I'm already married.
Oh, just watch them.
Oh yeah, they'll try still.
No, but Elias's whole thing way back in the Knuckles comics when he was first introduced was that he didn't want to, well, he already didn't want to be king, but his whole thing was that he had been trained as an adventurer, so maybe he was just like, well, I haven't tried being married yet. Maybe that's gonna be fun.
That's his next adventure.
God.
I don't know.
Listen, there's room for a lot of headcanon because his wife and their relationship is never something that gets a ton of development in any writer's comics, so you can just say whatever you want.
Okay. Perfect. All right.
Okay, then.
I don't know. It's not like on the top of my... She's fine. She's whatever.
She's not an offensive character.
Yeah. But so Jeffrey and Hershey are here trying to rally the villagers to an oncoming Eggman invasion. And Eli is, super belligerent about all this. He's like, man, I don't want to be part of this anymore.
Well, yeah, he was trying to escape all this.
Yeah, but it's funny because, everyone's being threatened, and he's just like, wow, this is just terrible.
I mean,
not because, they're being threatened, but because
himself,
everyone's...
typical.
Yeah, he's like, wow, I can't believe everyone's gonna, try to defend themselves. Wow.
Yeah, it smacks of a little bit of that slightly confused hero archetype where it's like, I don't like fighting, even if it's fighting for something good.
Right.
Meg also informs us that almost nobody here knows a thing about Eli. He hasn't said who he is or where he's from.
I mean, that I'm not surprised by. Well, I don't think he'd want to reveal all that information.
I guess it's just, again, another thing we're like, wow, you guys rushed into this marriage.
Well, I mean, you walk into some little podunk village and don't say, I'm a prince, I'm here to marry someone. That's going to that's going to kind of turn you into an outsider.
Well, if you say I'm here to marry someone just by walking into some random place at all, you're going to get weird looks. At least I think.
I mean, fair.
Maybe someplace in the very rural United States where it's like, yeah, we got 9 men here and they're all over the age of 60, and it's like, okay, well.
Already then.
Mary Belle Suzanne doesn't have a ton of options. That's still weird. I still don't like that.
I mean, yes, it is still weird.
Anyway, what the fuck was I talking about? This is a very stupid conversation. Right. So, yeah, Elias never told us who he was, never told the village, and, Jeffrey solves that really easily by saying, Prince Elias, at last we found you!
I mean, why wouldn't he?
I mean, there's no reason why he wouldn't have.
Frankly, Elias, you'd think would be more upset about having his cover blown, but it just seems like he really doesn't want to see Jeffrey.
This comes off as kind of sudden to me. Maybe the idea is that Elias was just bottling it all up, but we didn't really get any signs of it. He seemed more like he was just depressed and not angry before.
I feel like part of, I don't know, maybe part of his coping was just bottling up his emotions.
I think of a good way to do it, and it's not technically wrong, it would be subtextual at best, would be that since almost all of the worst things in his time as king happened under Jeffrey's watch and with Jeffrey's advice, he partially blames him for some of the shit that happened. That's what I would
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Say, though.
I mean, that would make more sense.
Yeah. But, frankly, Jeffrey can't get a word in. Elias is ready to punch him.
Well, first he's ready to just leave, and then he's ready to throw hands.
Yeah. And yeah, fair. It's like I don't think we have like super strong impressions of Elias, but he's always a relatable character, surprisingly.
Yeah,
I mean, here he kind of seems really extreme. I don't
Okay,
know.
he's a little over. I guess it's just mean his reactions to things make sense to me. I
yeah,
sympathize with his life being suffering.
right.
That
I can
yeah,
get
that
that.
makes sense.
Yeah, I get that.
But all of this is kind of put on the spot when their wall explodes and a bunch of egg bots show up. Oh look, E series.
Shadow E series.
Yeah,
I love
shadowy
this. This is
series.
this
That's
is a new
interesting.
trend where Eggman is making shadow versions of the familiar badniks.
Yeah, I enjoy that we're getting to see the familiar Eggman robots.
It's also probably easier on the colors to only have to do one
Oh yeah.
hue.
Oh yeah.
Well, you still got the cool shine though.
Yeah.
That's true.
But it's not just robots. We've also got Eggman here, just kind of out strolling about with them.
Well, yeah. So why is Eggman here?
Uh,
Because he's awesome.
Well, other than that,
Eggman has not been extremely hands-on for a lot of stuff. If they're not coming to
really.
him, it's usually him sending something else.
Well,
Um,
yeah, but I want to know why is Eggman? Why did Eggman like invade this village in the first place?
him personally, I don't know. Maybe he's
Because
searching.
he didn't know Elias was there,
That's true.
Yeah, and it's strange that he wouldn't just go after Knothole again.
right? Instead, going after some other. Maybe Knothole's too well defended, and he just doesn't want to deal with it.
That
You
would
just
explain
wanted
the
to
the
go
Cratic
out and
Village thing too.
have a little joyful pillaging.
Yeah, I think
All
for
right,
me it's
fair
like,
enough.
please put him in a mech. Don't have him just like walk around on foot. That's
Give him
undignified.
the Eggmobile.
I don't know. I mean, you don't. It's not terribly uncommon that you see Eggman doing this. Honestly,
No, but
No,
like
but I like seeing
I feel
cool
like
mechs.
we saw his blimps earlier. Have him come down from one of those in an Eggmobile, and then have him get out to give his little spiel.
you know what? You know what? Actually, I have the perfect explanation for this. He is so used to being loaded up with a robo body that he isn't even
Ah,
thinking about it.
That's a good point, because I would have been stronger. And a
yeah,
case in
that makes
point,
sense.
Sonic and Sally arrive very quickly. Like, it's a good thing that the speculation about where Elias was correct, because if they had just gone somewhere else, the others would be doomed. But Sonic is here, and he, attacks him head on. So, or rather, he attacks the robots head on. I'm kind of not
Yeah,
sure because Sonic destroys everything, and Eggman just runs off. Why don't you just try to punch Eggman?
Uh, I don't know. Same reason that they didn't rescue Nate and the other roboticized dudes.
Yeah, fair enough.
Um,
yeah, fair.
yeah, I guess Sonic does most of the legwork here, I have to assume. I don't think that's really what the intention was. But I kind of find it surprising that a bunch of friendly villagers would just smash all these robots, but
Yeah, well, it's like they're
Yeah,
supposedly
kind of.
helping out. We see them run alongside Sonic, and then the very next panel, they're all just
They're all
gone,
destroyed.
and
Yeah,
Eggman is,
yeah.
so
is running off, Team Rocket style. I don't know. It seems like we should have had a little bit more with that.
I mean, yeah, a lot of these again, a lot of these problems have we've had recently have come to. We were shoving three stories into these issues now, so
That
the
is
main
part of it.
the main story ends up getting more and more crushed because it's sharing page space.
I feel like even then they don't attempt to resolve it. It's
Yeah.
Elias is like, "Wow, this sucks," but why don't you just have some nice dinner and we'll let all be friendly in the end. Um,
I'm sure he's happy
like
to see his sister.
fair enough, I suppose. But as we'll see later, there's absolutely no resolution, like as to what the king and queen think of this. Like there's no talk about like, oh well, we kind of came here and all that and whatever, and like
I mean,
it's just weird because it's like they came here and then I was like no, and they're like okay.
you are
Yeah.
correct, but it's like Elias is an adult. He can kind of make his own decisions, and I know what you're going to say, which is that the king and queen don't care about that. And you're right, they
Jeffrey shouldn't
don't.
care either because he's an agent and he like worships the king pretty much.
Yes, but if you're not doing a story about them resorting to increasingly extreme measures and directly turning him against them, which I would
Hmm.
like, but they're not doing that.
Right.
it makes sense to me that they would just say, "Yeah, I'm not going anyway. Bye." So
It's just weird because there's
Yeah.
absolutely no reaction from the king. I mean, yeah, not that I'm aware of.
fair
They
enough.
just act like it's okay and everyone's cool with that, which doesn't seem consistent.
No, not really. We also get here one of the most infamous Ron Lim panels of all time, the final one of
Oh
the story.
yeah.
Mm.
He's trying to draw Sally rolling her eyes at Sonic's chili dog line.
Yeah, but
I
that's
I
not
don't
really
even,
what it looks like.
She doesn't. I can't even
Failed.
say she looks stoned. She looks like.
I don't know how to describe the emotion on Sally's face, but it is definitely not just rolling her eyes.
When I saw this, I tried to just like draw a new one, which doesn't look good, but it looks alive. So I actually once tried to unlimify Sonic in this panel as well because he's got the big wide mono eye and the droopy quills.
Right.
I don't know if
Signature
I've
look.
still got that one,
Mm.
but yeah, that's the story. Pretty unremarkable. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing too
Weird.
objectionable other than Lauren's thing, but it's like, eh.
I mean, yeah, it's nothing like objectionable. It's just like underwhelming.
It's
You might as
completely
well-
underwhelming. You went here and you're like,
Yeah.
Elias is here and he's staying here, and okay, great.
Yeah,
Cool.
I
all
might
right,
as well have
cool.
had the king get a postcard from Elias that says, "Nope, not coming back."
Literally.
Fuck you, I'm never coming back.
It's like they start to get somewhere, and then Eggman comes in, and it's like everyone forgets what the story was actually about after that.
Also, I guess none of these people have phones. Like not even like wired phones. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen a phone in these comics.
No, but they have like communicators.
Yeah.
I imagine those
That
aren't
you
the
can't-
longest range.
I
You
guess.
can't
Yeah.
keep big old towers or satellites up for long around here, I imagine.
That's a
Eggman's
fair
gonna
point.
fuck those up, yeah.
Well, we saw what happened when they brought TV into the world, so
True.
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 yeah. Anyway, though, we are moving on to our second story here. Afterlife Part 1, Penders and Mawini. Art Mawini making an appearance. Which I guess he's been around, but like, you know.
Yeah, Armawini's made like a bit of a comeback with these comics.
Yeah, but it was for like relatively unimportant stuff before, like that genie story or that thing
Right.
with
And,
Sally and Mom and Jalala.
This is a lot more important.
Well,
Or is it really?
Sort of.
it's more Penders. Penders is a special class unto himself.
The main thing this story did was remind me that Knuckles dying wasn't a fever dream.
Yes, after Knuckles' death, Angel Island plays
shit.
host to a funeral. Meanwhile, Gruckles meets with spirits of the past.
You're starting to confuse me. It was Gruckles that died, not Knuckles.
Okay, Gruckles died, but
Yeah,
Knuckles
it
is
was-
dead.
That's more correct, yes.
It was both.
Also, I guess the minister here is a legionnaire.
Is he?
Yes, so.
Oh,
Got the
okay.
techno dreads, so
Oh, you're totally right.
Yeah, okay. I didn't even notice that. That's actually kind of interesting.
Also, speaking of which, at the back, that echidna girl with glasses really does just look like Laura Sue, but
Yeah, it does.
Apparently, that's Florin Ka, Julie Sue's foster mom.
Okay.
Okay.
It's like almost all of the other echidnas here at the funeral are legionnaires, though. Like, I assume that's probably Locke and maybe
It's funny you bring up Locke is on this first page because for most of the story, I didn't think he'd even bothered to show up.
Wouldn't
Well, I assume
surprise
I
me.
assume that's Locke and Lorelei and maybe Windwalker next to him.
Yeah.
Anyway, none of that matters. So at least this time, some of the characters are dressed for the occasion, although none of the chaotics are, which is funny.
Yeah, none of the main characters are.
Also, I don't think Charmy B came to the funeral.
No, Charmy's busy being married.
Yep.
Um,
Takes a lot of time. So there's the Legionnaire that's leading the funeral here talks about how Knuckles lived like a full life in the short time that they had, but then they're like, oh yes, they were only just of reasoning status, as they call it. They were but a man-child, and it's like, what? What? What kind of choice of words is that?
What the fuck is this eulogy? It's funny enough to call him a man-child, a proud man-child even. It's weirder that like you have to put Ken Pender's like sci-fi jargon in there with reasoning status. Just say he was, a man, because 16.
Right.
Who cares? But yeah, this is all very sappy, all sort of it's a little cliche in how they have this funeral play out.
A little bit, yeah.
And it's he's not staying dead, and
It's
like
just a
obviously
matter.
he's
It's
not.
just a
Like,
matter of how long will he be dead.
yeah, but it's like, are you gonna really spend time on this when you know the audience is supposed to know this? Because obviously it's true. Because this story is called Afterlife. It's about Gruckles being a ghost.
Yeah.
He's like a force ghost.
Yeah, this is. You hate to see it.
I hate that
Ruckles
he's
is still stuck with the Brotherhood of Guardians even after death.
And I
Yeah,
hate
just
that
a
he's
different
still
set.
stuck being green.
That's true too.
Well, stuck for the moment.
Yeah, even death doesn't remove the green status effect.
It does give his muzzle back its color though. Before that was green too.
Oh yeah, that's right. It
Notice,
was.
but okay, interesting.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that. That's interesting.
I guess is better, but like not really.
I'd rather him not be green at all.
But yeah, he wakes up. I don't know if he wakes up as a ghost. I don't know. He says, "How come I'm watching my own funeral?" And it's like, well, like, were you here a second ago? Where were you guys? Because after this, the Brotherhood, like, Steppenwolf introduces himself. So were they there before? Where has he been in the days leading up to this?
There are no answers to these questions.
There really aren't.
Yeah. I also couldn't tell that was Steppenwolf at all because his eyebrows were drawn white instead of black. It's like that little a design difference makes me like, which one is his skin? I can't tell.
Right.
Sometimes that's the only difference it takes to be a different character.
Especially with these characters.
Well, and it's made worse because that's not Hawking in the background. That's Tober. Hawking gave him the hat, but he never wore the hat when he was involved with the story, so I thought that Knuckles was calling Hawking Tober, and also he doesn't have the weird eyes. So it's like, who is that? Anyway, there's a lot of words here, but it all really just is the Brotherhood establishing. Anyway, God's coming to meet you.
Yeah. Jesus.
Of course.
Fucking hell.
I'm not even surprised, honestly.
I mean, it's kind of funny. That's about it, though.
Well, okay. It's not that God's coming to meet you, it's Goddess. It's the goddess Aurora. I have to, like, give Penders a mild amount of credit for making the heavenly host Chow.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I was about to say that this is actually... I'm always thrown to the loop when Penders actually does something that, like, fits with the canon and he's not just screwing around.
Something from the games.
This is actually consistent with, like, how Tikal came back in Sonic Adventure. So I'm like,
That's true,
what the heck? The Chow just bring you to the afterlife. Okay, this actually makes perfect sense. Good job for once.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know what? Enough. Surprisingly, in 2024, that is more consistent with modern Sonic's themes, knowing what we know about Chow being harbingers of doom nowadays.
Fascinating. Also, I realized that this is the last comic that I read before the podcast, just for what it's worth.
Oh, interesting.
I read this and I'm like, I've had it.
It was too stupid.
This was the straw that broke the camel's back. All right, that's good to know.
I just kind of got bored at this point, honestly.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's
I don't
fair.
blame you. It's fucking boring. I do kind of like the ending though, which is that they finish the funeral service and then everyone just walks away, leaving Knuckles' dead corpse on a table in the woods.
Oh, maybe they're just gonna let him decompose or something.
I guess.
He's for the birds.
Yeah, you know.
Actually, if you think about it, there's nothing to say that his corpse doesn't just stay there.
Yeah, I mean, when we do eventually get him back, he teleports, so...
That's right.
Yeah, so who's to say if it's not a new body?
Knuckles coming back here and being like, is that another me? Ew, it's half eaten by rats.
I didn't even think about that. That's a funny idea.
Resurrection is always weird, and sometimes that's how it works.
Yeah.
Well, let's move off this slightly gross subject to a slightly different gross subject with me. No, that's a little mean. Anyway, this is Songbird, written by Romy Chacon and penciled by Stephen Butler, wherein Sonic encourages Mina to pursue a career in singing, and everybody loves her voice, although it gives Sally some conflicted feelings because we're still fucking doing this.
I think
Yep, that's
saying
what this is
Sonic
about.
encouraged her is a bit of a stretch.
So-
No, it's true.
No,
It's-
no, she even says Sonic just volunteered her for it.
Oh, okay, understatement. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
This is something that you see in a lot of... This is not something you see in a lot of children's material nowadays, where you'll definitely have this in older stuff, where a character discovers that someone has talent and just kind of shoves them into it, and
Yeah.
is, like, a little callous, but they're thankful for it anyway.
Right.
Like, nowadays you have, like, that Steven Universe episode where he tries to do that with Sadie, and then she gets uncomfortable, and he's like, alright, sorry, I shouldn't have done this, and now I'll perform in your outfit. But in this case, it's fine. She sings, everybody likes it, it's
And
okay.
that seems to give Mina the confidence boost that she's desperately needed for her character.
Yeah, she's in a very different way of It Sucks to Be Sally. It does also suck to be Mina. But
It does.
Well, when you're written for one reason.
Yeah, it doesn't help making your character extremely depressing.
Well, as it is, I think that this is one of the better things they've done with her character, because yes, she still has a crush on Sonic. Yes, it's her loving him that motivates her to do this. But no, this doesn't rely on Sonic for the
No.
foreseeable future. It just becomes a role that she has.
I mean, yeah, I suppose.
Well, it's like, she didn't have a gimmick other than being sad or a babysitter beyond this, so it's something.
Right.
And, yeah, it's like, I don't have anything to say about the song, because it's text.
Right.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah, it's not like
Easy little song.
there's ever something we could really say about the song in this context.
Well, it's like, I'm thinking about, like, Sonic Underground singing bits, and it's like, that's fine, I don't need more of that.
Yeah, that's fair.
They should have brought in the writers of that to come with some wacky lyrics.
Ooh.
I do say this one page is a little weird with Sally listening to it and, like, seemingly being like, oh, it's really good. She looks a little bit, like, entranced by it.
I thought she looked apathetic as hell.
I don't know, she's kind of smiling.
Is she?
Maybe? I guess her hand's kind of covering up her face.
Yeah.
But Nicole's like, Sally, why are you bothering me with this? You shouldn't be do that.
You have
the
better things to
decibel
do,
levels
Sally.
indicate that the sound is completely overrated. I'm so glad that we have like Nicole here at being Nicole. This is the thing we're doing now apparently, which is great.
Yeah, Nicole's suddenly like an actual character.
She's jealous that Sally is giving attention to Mina instead of her.
Oh my.
Sorry, I am ride or die.
We're
on the
gonna get a
Sally
love
Cole
quadrangle now.
Anyway, sadly, the like, if you had just, like, put the end bumper from this page on the previous one, the entire story would be so much better, because you have you have Mina jump down and embrace Sonic after the show and hug him, and then you have Sally see that and get upset, and it's like, again, fucking stop.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's why they couldn't have done what you suggested.
Yeah, fair.
It's hilarious that this, like, milquetoast dog shit writing is the thing that started the bloodiest shipping wars in the history of the fandom.
God, that's.
Seriously? You mean it worked?
Oh,
I mean, that doesn't
absolutely.
surprise me.
There are people that to this day will not speak to each other over how much one supported Sally and the other supported Mina.
God, imagine supporting either of them.
You know what? I'm actually disappointed in the fandom. I can't believe it.
I mean, I can't say I'm disappointed because I expect that from most fandoms.
Well, it's not anybody that you're gonna see, like, nowadays on, like, you know, Stadium or Retro or what have you, because all of them are adults.
Right.
I have to imagine this was a thing almost exclusively cared about by teenagers, which is why it's mostly localized to DeviantArt.
Oh, God.
But, yeah. It would have been an okay story up until the ending, I'd say.
I guess, yeah.
But...
It would have been
It would
perfectly.
have been a pretty average meh.
perfectly
whatever
mediocre,
story.
that's what I mean. Which is the standard for this series, so. Well, you know, if you're gonna do shipping wars and romantic drama, I do prefer, I think, if you take the maximum chaos route. So here's Sonic the Hedgehog number 122. And especially the next one.
Oh boy.
Knack went to the store and he got some free recolors in the bargain bin
He got
section.
he bought some
Seriously,
NFTs.
they just decided there's a whole weasel gang now. And Nick isn't even there.
Yeah, but
Like,
we're
it's
just gonna forget
all
about
new
his sister
weasels.
now.
Yes, these characters. I may as well talk about this now before we have to talk about the story itself, just as it's on the title page. These guys show up for these 2 issues and then never again. And by the time you get to the Flanera, he retcons like, "Oh yeah, Knack poisoned them off screen or something."
What?
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
Okay. I'm not gonna respond to that immediately, but I'm gonna put a pin in that idea. Okay,
that
let's
is
talk about
wild.
this story.
Yeah, we
Yes.
need to talk about the story.
This is the first part of Heart Held Hostage, written by Carl Ballers and motherfucking drawn by Jay Goddamn Axer. Holy shit. Sonic and Mina's impromptu jam session is cut short when Knack and his weasel buddies rough up Bunny and kidnap Sally. It's so beautiful.
It is very nice.
They
It's
finally...
the art, you mean, or
Yeah,
story?
Axer has not gotten to do a main story ever.
Really?
No, he's only been on backups and like title
Oh.
pages.
Oh yeah, I mean it's always nice to see a competent artist.
Yeah, so we start off here with not actually the aforementioned jam sesh, but we start off with Jules teaching Sonic to play guitar.
Right.
And I actually like this bit because Jules is he's a good teacher, but he actually can't demonstrate for himself because being a Robian means you lose a lot of precision in your fine motor skills.
Right.
Which I think is a neat detail. It kind of helps solidify that, you know, you can live as a Robian, but it's not fun.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're just packing everybody into these frames, which is funny.
I mean, a lot of the people are just random people.
Yeah, there's a couple
of
no names here, but just there's going to be a lot of crowd shots between Axer and like John Gray later. So, but yeah, we're hanging out, but then Mina's here. She's gonna do an emotion at him.
What you do when you're Mina?
The one of the 2 emotions she seems to be only capable of feeling.
Yeah, either depression because family sadness or love Sonic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So of course Sally then arrives to see all that going on. She's like, "Oh right, I like her voice, but also she's with Sonic, which means that I don't get to like her."
Once again, Sally's existence is nothing but misery.
It's okay, Bunny's here to save us.
That's good at least.
Mm-hmm.
And Bunny does offer again good advice, which is like, if you have a problem with Sonic and this other girl, tell Sonic that, please.
Yeah. For the love of God, please.
Which is like, I don't want Sally to be possessive. Like, I think Sonic should be able to have whichever friends he likes, but like,
Sure.
yeah, just like if you're uncomfortable, say it.
Yeah.
But it's okay because it's action time. Fang
Yep.
is here. He's got his
They're all here.
dollar store knockoff weasels. And what? Okay, so Fang pistol whips Sally, but Bunny just gets run over by the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't. Why not pistol whip both of them? That's a strange question.
Well, it's like, just why do you need to run into her? Do you want to kill her? Well, I guess they don't care. So
Yeah, they don't care about Bunny.
they
They just
don't
want
care.
Sally.
yeah, they rampage through there. Sonic only manages to down one of them, but they get away with Sally.
Yeah, real hit and run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess what did they say? They want ransom money from the king? Is that what they said?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
It is funny because they do show up and they're like here with their buff guards. And they're like, "You guys are gonna beat the shit out of the dude Sonic nabbed."
Well,
Yeah.
after Bunny hangs him out of a window.
Yeah, this is a interesting moment. It's a reminder because yeah, Jeff the Weasel here totally doesn't care about Bunny and doesn't care about the king initially because he's in a wheelchair. He mocks him, and then the king is like, "Let me demonstrate my well, I guess it's somewhat of a redeemable quality, but he's a bit extreme. He's very protective of his children. That's one thing you
Yeah.
can say."
I guess that's not a terrible thing.
There's a weird moment though because Sonic is like, "Oh, you got the location out of him. Okay, how'd you do that?" And then he's like, oh, let's say I made him an offer he couldn't refuse. And then the queen is like, oh, Max. Which just shows that she hasn't really shown it yet, but it seems like she kind of has the same side to her, doesn't she?
Oh, she's completely allowing of all of his worst traits. No worries.
Yeah,
It
that's.
makes sense, I suppose.
And you know, that guy's not seen again, so it's entirely possible he just killed him.
I mean, got the information and then just murked him. You know.
Possible.
But yeah, they get the info and then Sonic runs out. So we're doing a damsel subplot, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it seems that way right
mean,
now, anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually like Sally in the next story, but we're not there.
Yes.
So it's very much a part one. Yeah.
Right.
I feel like they should have put Axer on a different issue than this. There haven't been a ton of amazing baller stories recently, but it's like, I don't know. You should have let Sonic fight Eggman in his style or something. I don't know. Anyway, we gotta do more Gruckles.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Afterlife Part 2. Gruckles travels the afterlife, seeing the events that brought him here and being guided by the goddess Aurora. He's being escorted by the Chow and then is like, oh, don't fear, I'm sentient light, but here, I will take a form you're more comfortable. It's another pink echidna.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you know, they say, oh, it's just Knuckles' perception of her. I guess. I guess I don't care whether Knuckles would perceive her that way. I still think that if Penders were writing Sonic in this situation, he'd still make her an echidna.
Yeah, because the echidnas are the most important species.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, we get this fucking abysmal next bit where we get a recap of Locke's whole thing, not just to remind us, not only to confirm that his actions were correct, but to say that he was given all of this planned out by God.
My God.
Did you expect anything different?
I mean,
you know what? Fair enough.
we had this once with Max and the Source of All, but it's like lies, abuse, manipulation, you know, all of that would come off as unjustified if not for the fact that God explained it to me in a dream.
Yeah, see, and this is the part where if this was written by, a better writer, this could be, like, really awesome, because it could be like, the gods are evil, but no, it's not how this is going to work.
No, this is how we know that what Locke is doing is just and shit.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess if you're hearing that from God, then your natural conclusion must be that God kind of sucks. If you heard this from Locke, you would think he had severe mental health problems.
I mean, he might.
Both are probably true.
I mean, yes. I want to say it's weird because this is part recap, and then we'll have more recap next time because we only go through like all of that stuff leading up to it, and then like Knuckles' early life, and it's like we end with Locke and Lorelai's divorce, and then Gruckles says, "Then what happened, bitch? It's your life." I don't know. I don't know. There's not a lot to say about this. It's just dumb.
Yeah, that sums it up.
I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's why we needed to split the Penders half of this issue into two halves, because we also have When There Was Only One Guardian, which is a fucking mouthful of a title. I guess you could say it's Julie Sue and Vector the Crocodile in When There Was Only One Guardian. Blech.
That's a better title, definitely.
Yeah.
Penders and Don Best. When he discovers Julie Sue rummaging through Knuckles' things, Vector is ready to tussle, but the two end up kind of hashing things out over their mutual love for their friend, I guess.
Guess.
It's really hard to summarize these. That's why I forget so much, because so little happens.
Yeah.
Nothing to summarize.
I do like the we start with Julie Sue like going through Knuckles' stuff and like marveling at the fact that he read books, I guess.
Well, so like whatever, cool. Knuckles read things. I don't care. My question is the next panel. What the fuck does she mean by that?
What really gets me is this: knowing I mattered to him. She says as
Weren't
holding
they
a framed picture of herself. Yeah, you're his girlfriend, asshole.
Yeah, you're a couple. That's usually how that works.
It would be an incredible piece of
To
like
be fair,
self-aware meta writing if you wrote that because of the fact that they barely hang out despite dating.
I was about to
I mean,
say,
yeah, that is true.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to usurp your complaint. Um,
No, just that writing is just so confusing.
yeah. I'm choosing to believe the book she's looking at is the echidna version of 2001: A Space Odyssey from the King of the Hill arc.
probably.
But yeah, just sloppy all around. Anyway, Vector arrives to be shitty to her.
It's what he does.
It
Yeah.
really is. Like,
It's
goddamn,
like
Vector's an
Sonic and
asshole.
Knuckles of old. They randomly fight for 2 seconds before sitting down and doing nothing. I guess I don't know. I do like the Vector. One of Vector's attacks is playing loud music at her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
that's
either
what he does.
listening to the shittiest of music or it's just way too loud.
Actually, I like the idea that it's just really bad music.
Uh-huh.
Like he's playing Seabad at her or something.
Oh god. No, it's Nickelback.
Listen,
Nickelback's not as bad as people say it is.
Nickelback is perfectly mediocre. There's not actually that much
That's
to complain about.
That is a good description of Nickelback.
Right, okay, sorry, my mind got taken completely off track by the Nickelback thing.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to just fuck your thought process up.
Well,
So I don't remember Vector being so confrontational with anyone except Julie Sue, but I could be wrong.
Apparently, that's how he met Knuckles.
Yeah, in this flashback, they just fight for no reason practically.
Pretty much.
well, I mean, I accept this as a retcon because I'm not a fan of Vector being a horrible misogynist.
Fair.
Thankfully, this is one of the last times that Penders ever has to write him.
Interesting.
In fact,
Okay.
maybe the last time, if I'm...
He didn't have to write him. The way you put it like that, like, oh, he
Sorry,
was stuck in
one of the
Vector.
last times we have to endure Penders writing him.
Yeah.
Right.
At least this version of him.
What? Okay.
Interesting.
I think the only thing that we really get is that Vector is... He was one of the many Down Under refugees on Angel Island. I'm not sure how he got
Right.
there. It's still flying in the sky, but knowing that he
Don't
was
worry
fleeing
about it.
from Crocbot is very funny.
Oh, huh. Yes, that's true.
Oh yeah.
Not that Penders wants to say that. He just says Robotnik, but you know.
Rockbotnik.
And then Catweasel shows up and shits on his head.
That's like the most impactful thing that happens in this entire story.
This
Fun-
was Catweasel at their full power because they used to be imbued with the red Chaos Emeralds. Because as you can see, they're completely red. They lost the power later, but
Oh yeah,
this
he's
was what it
supposed to be
allowed
You
them
know
to
what?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gray or white.
So that's funny. Fun fact:
That's
Dawn Best,
interesting.
not that long ago on Tumblr, she said something like, "I wanted to make this joke a misdirection and show Catweasel holding a vanilla ice cream cone in the next panel, but Penders was adamant that the bird shit needs to stay unaltered."
Fascinating.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I just think that's really funny.
No, that's
Well, no, I
interesting.
was going okay at the fact that Penders decided that was important for some reason.
Of all things,
He's so weird, man.
he is.
That's true.
He would be so funny if he weren't a jerk.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of people,
jerks.
Devin.
Yeah, I know. I do find it funny that we end with Julie Sue saying, "I guess despite all our differences, that's the only thing that you have in common, that we like Knuckles." Which is funny, because you'd think that this would be like a bonding moment, like they'd become better friends, but they say no, Knuckles just wouldn't have wanted us to fight.
We're giving Pendies too much credit with what we want him to be writing.
Well, this is the thing, is that this is what I've always said, is that Penders knows how to write things that are almost story-shaped. They're just not...
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Also, Vector was the aggressor. Why do we have to say both sides? That's normal for Penders, whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's push things forward. We can't dwell on it. This is Sonic the Hedgehog number 123. Oh, hey, there's that drawing of Sally that gets used on every fan page or wiki ever. We get an awesome, it looks like it could be a cover of its own drawing from Axer here.
That is a really good cover, or
He-
not cover, but
Yeah,
art.
that would have been a better cover, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, it's not like Spaziant's is bad. It's just these white background covers are boring.
It's just like you flip that and put the cover as the inside, and I would have believed it.
Well, it's like, is it meant to make it more striking or more easy for people to buy? Because I feel like you'd get them confused.
I don't know.
Let's get going. Heart Held Hostage Part 2, Ballers and Axer. Sonic races to the location where Sally is being held hostage, but the princess doesn't plan to stay put. The stage is set for a botched rescue when Mina unexpectedly follows them. And, Luigi's Mansion?
I guess so. Yeah.
It does
It really
look a
looks
lot
like
like
it.
Luigi's Mansion.
Was that game actually out by the time... Was that game 2004?
I thought it was a launch title for the GameCube. No, it wasn't a launch title.
When did the GameCube launch? 2002?
I think Luigi's Mansion was like 2002 or 2001.
Okay, so it was out by this point.
Oh, yeah.
Weird, because as they're approaching, Sonic here is like worried about not having backup, which doesn't seem like Sonic, from what I can recall.
I mean...
Yeah, I mean, he's
I
brought Bunny
guess.
with him for stuff that he feels like he needs her for, but there's rarely a point where he's like, oh, I can't do this on my own.
Yeah, exactly.
And Mina is the opposite of backup. She's actually going to make things much harder.
Uh-huh.
Which is the point. It's a recipe for trouble on purpose. But we've seen what she's like in tense situations. He probably should have made her go home.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they're heading in, but we get, honestly, one of the best portrayals of Sally in years.
That is so true. I will
Yeah,
have to
honestly.
say, first of all, though, that why isn't she tied up? They just put her in a chair.
They couldn't
and let
afford
her
any rope.
chill. You know what? I'll take that. But given that,
Yeah, this is like bordering on like what Sally is supposed to be, like Sad AM Sally.
Yeah, she's supposed to be. She's intelligent. She's actually, she's tricking them in like a very effective way.
Yeah, she pulls this gambit of essentially putting her parental trauma to good use
yeah,
to dupe them into the idea of collaborating to scam the king and queen for ransom money with her. And they're like, "Oh, you might have an idea there." And then she completely bodies Knack, takes the gun, and escapes.
Speaking of the guns, I'd just like to point out real quick, because if there's one thing I am, it's a gun enthusiast. I love, we got Knack's weird cartoony double barrel revolver, and then the other two weasels just have realistic ass 1911s.
Axer they hired him to draw guns, and he does a good job. Yeah, and I don't know what's up.
Damn right, yeah.
I don't know what's up with the double barrel.
The double barrel revolver is weird, but I think it's also kind of cool.
It's cool.
It is just weird here that there's just a bunch of weasels with just
real ass handguns.
Yes, exactly. It's like, and then you have Sally wielding it. Like,
yeah, well, Sally at least gets Knack's regular gun.
It's like that one episode of Pokemon where just everybody's randomly pointing like real guns at them.
Oh yeah, the Safari Zone episode.
You would not have trouble convincing me that someone just edited the guns on these images.
I could take that if they didn't look so good.
It would be a very good edit, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But Axer clearly, I can tell that, he was hired for guns, and goddamn does he do them well.
Well, and it's making me wonder, had Shadow the Hedgehog been announced by this point? Because if this is in 2004-ish, then it would be very, very funny if they did this because of that game. I don't think that's the case, because I seem to remember that some of the last Panders issues were based on, like, an aborted Shadow adaptation.
The game wasn't revealed until March 8th, 2005.
Wow, that is a very short time between reveal and release.
I know. So...
Was it released in November?
November in Europe and North America, December in Japan.
Okay, so actually that's a longer release window than Sonic Superstars got, actually.
That's true. That did not have a very long release window.
No, it was I think July to November. Anyway, Doesn't matter.
Oh, also, that is not a double-barrel revolver, because on the bottom right panel, you can see the bottom barrel has a stopper on it, which means it's a fucking magazine. Or a gas tube, I guess.
I will have to take your word for it. I don't know shit about guns. Anyway,
I don't know.
Sally's escaping. Sonic warns Mina not to do anything stupid. Just as we're seeing that Sally is out of bullets, did she actually shoot at anybody?
Either Knack doesn't keep his gun or keep his gun loaded, or Sally just unloaded like 6 rounds.
Yeah.
And in this situation, I'm guessing he probably didn't have his gun loaded.
Yeah. But so the two of the dudes are closing in, but thankfully Sonic shows up, and does he just grab the guns out of their hands really fast?
I thought he disassembled them, but yeah, he just grabs them.
Either works.
Yeah, they try to fight him, but they lose easily, obviously.
Yeah, because Sonic has main character and everything.
I could believe that Sonic could beat these guys physically if they.
Of course.
Guns and...
Sonic could definitely deal with them easily.
Yeah, but they get their teeth kicked in, and then Sally jumps on Sonic, and they full-on kiss for the first time in probably a pretty long time, now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't know how long, but it's definitely been a long time.
Yeah,
and apparently this causes Mina's psyche to fucking shatter.
She is utterly destroyed by
this is all Mina is.
Yeah, this is literally most of her entire character.
This is more, more to my Mina sympathetic Mina talk that she literally didn't know that they ever had a thing.
I once
again do not understand how that's possible, but
I'm not saying it's a good decision. Yeah.
I don't know.
But listen, this next part is so wild.
I think the suicidal thoughts started coming back.
Mina is not going down this emotional rabbit hole without a fucking fanfare. Because Knack shows up, points his gun, and Mina's like, alright, it's ride or die. I am going to prove my love for Sonic by taking a bullet in the back to save Sally.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, so...
and then Knack just fucks off.
First of all, yes. I mean, that Mina stuff is... I mean, honestly, we've seen Mina be suicidal before.
I mean,
I'm actually more surprised. Like, I was already like, wow, okay, we got a Weasel gang, and we got gunfights going on here with Sally. That's a little unexpected. But yeah, when Knack is just like, well, I can't get a payment, well, I guess I'll get murder instead.
Like, I'll get some sort of satisfaction, god damn it!
This does not seem like Knack. Knack in this story has just gone overboard. Like, is he just like got no money and he just really needs?
Well, again, they couldn't afford fucking rope.
Right. Because this is I don't. He seemed a lot more like they dialed up the threat level with Knack in this story.
He was just like a mercenary before.
Max,
like just doing jobs.
Was that he used a pop gun.
True. Yeah. Now he has an actual whole hog pistol.
So yeah, and he if it wasn't for plot armor, he probably would have killed Mina too. So yeah, I believe that this Knack would just poison his associates for failing.
Probably.
Even though that's not consistent with other Knacks.
Yeah.
And maybe there's multiple Knacks.
Maybe.
Yeah, it is. This is a crazy moment. I'm kind of glad they went for it, if I'm honest.
I mean, it made it interesting.
Well, and it's
well, so I mean, interesting, yes, but I usually like things to be consistent. Like I was enjoying the story up until the moment that Mina gets shattered and destroys the plot along with her mind.
Her writing suddenly just like takes a nosedive.
I don't know, because, like, what I'm trying to think what the option would be here, because, like, obviously this is meant to be, a piece.
This is a big event.
Yeah.
For Mina.
And so if you do that, you have to either have Sonic choose one of them, or have Sonic choose the other, or tell them both to shut up and stop being stupid, but obviously, Justin says we can't do that.
Nah, let Sonic choose the one that gets shot.
Well, I mean, this is the thing, is that if you did that, then either you would have Sonic and Mina, which we're obviously not doing because she's not
No.
real, or you'd have Sonic and Sally. And if you're gonna do Sonic and Sally, then you have to have Mina react somehow. Either you
Yes.
end on the lukewarm of just she's depressed again, and
Or the
well, I mean,
extreme of her taking a bullet.
if you wanted to write the feminist story of her learning not to rely on her attraction to a man all the time, you could do that, but we only have 2 pages left.
Yeah, no. I also don't expect
That's
these writers to
impossible.
do anything like that anyway.
Even not the one who calls himself a feminist all the time, no.
That's a good joke.
And so, you want to go for the dramatic finish, and certainly nothing more than getting shot.
Taking a bullet is one hell of a dramatic finish.
I
And-
mean, yeah. The thing is, if they had ended on the page when Sonic's just like, no, and then you have to resolve it next month, that would have been pretty dramatic. But instead, you have the next page where Mina's just fine.
I mean, I will say I almost wish they had did. I do kind of agree that they shouldn't have included this last page in this story.
Yeah.
Like make it like the beginning of a different story with them seeing her in the hospital. Let us wonder if she's dead.
They should have, maybe they should have put both of these issues a little earlier so that they could do that, because I wouldn't want this at the start of the next issue, because the next issue has a friggin' mission.
No, not the next issue, but do it. Give her time to recover and then have them visit her.
Yes.
Yeah, that would have been better.
Which, I mean, granted, that's what's implied. It's kind of implied in the next page that it's been a little while.
Well,
But it really should have been like the beginning of a different story.
Yeah.
In another issue.
if nothing else, I appreciate this because that gesture is symbolic between Mina and Sally. Because, how do I say this? We're not done with Mina loving Sonic, unfortunately. That's going to continue for a little while longer. But we are done with drama between Mina, Sonic, and Sally. All of Mina's appearances, even though she still is going to harbor a thing for Sonic, it's going to be pushed further and further into the background, and Sally's not going to give a shit anymore.
Okay, well that's good at least.
So
all right.
Maybe I just appreciate it for that. Also, it is dedicated to Minerva Eiffel, who I believe is Baller's grandmother.
Interesting.
Also, her name is Minerva, so probably Mina's namesake, maybe?
I would assume so.
I hope his grandma didn't get shot. Anyway, yeah, so very, very interesting story. There were good moments, and there
were moments.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have more Afterlife, Part 3, Penders and Mawini. Gruckles continues to look back on his life with Aurora. Maybe something will happen eventually. That's literally my...
That's a good summary.
That's a good summary, yeah.
I think it's funny that we've had like 3 or 4 different stories at this point focusing on the singular childhood meeting that Knuckles and Sally had as kids.
It must have been a really long meeting.
It must have been like, yeah, an entire day.
Because if it wasn't that long, how would there be so much content coming out of it?
Yeah, somehow this became the basis for like a really intimate friendship, supposedly. Even though Knuckles and Sally as adults barely interact because Knuckles is stuck off in his own little Pender's world.
Uh-huh.
It might as well be a different fucking world.
This is even stuff that Mawini already drew.
Just reuse old drawings.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we start out with that, which is technically new, sort of. But then we just launch into more flashback stuff. Like, Penders must be so proud of what he's done. Because
Proud
he's
of
just
the
recapping
lore he's
everything.
created.
Because this is supposed to be all of the most important memories
Right.
of his life, right? But so much of it is just like, it was pretty routine back then. Dad would school me, I'd do some chores, and we had fun afterwards. We're not showing, what Locke is like as a person, as a dad, because we didn't see much of that, actually. We've only seen him as an absentee father, mostly.
Or a stalker.
But it's just like Knuckles' boring childhood. If you'd had all of these like big important action scenes, then that would be at least interesting to look at. I bet if you did this for Game Knuckles, he would have a whole bunch of crazy things happening because Angel Island is a crazy place full of weird, echidna tech and exotic places,
Right.
and Knuckles is all alone. He has to fend for himself. It would be like
It also keeps falling out of the sky.
It'd be like I guess if you wanted to portray the game events as well. I'm thinking more
No,
like
I know. More like
like
childhood that we didn't see.
I'm thinking like the Saiyan arc filler where Gohan is training and Piccolo is kind of watching over him.
Right. I mean, that... Yeah,
Because
If
Sonic
this-
needs to be more about Dragon Ball Z.
obviously.
Problem is, if this was game Knuckles, they wouldn't be green. They wouldn't be talking to God.
Yeah, we wouldn't have this problem.
And also wouldn't... And he wouldn't be dead in the first place, also.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, just a lot of stuff. It's like we get a little bit like, oh, it's Vector again, but again, nothing significant. And then we just see all the stuff that happened in the Knuckles comics. So it's like whatever.
Yeah, I already read all this. I don't care.
I thought they redesigned Catweasel, but they're actually just white again here. So maybe my theory was right, actually.
I think Jensen just made a mistake, but maybe yeah. Actually, ditto because he draws Kragok as pink here in this one panel.
I mean, that kind of... Well, maybe... Never mind.
I'm not complaining about there being other colors because so many of them are just red.
Oh, yeah. No, I appreciate that. I mean, he also does Julie Sue slightly wrong because her hair should be, like, purple.
Yeah. But we just end off, again, in the middle of recapping. We still don't get anything else.
Once again, these stories are ending literally in the fucking middle.
Yeah. Not to worry, we've got... Oh, boy.
Something.
Okay. We've got this next story. This is The Last Robian, written by Carl Ballers and drawn by Irma Winnie. And, oh boy. I will have something to say about this.
Did you say you don't?
No, he
will have things
does.
to say about this.
I think
okay.
all three of us are going to have stuff to say about this.
Okay.
The Acorn Kingdom is left in shock when one day every Robian mysteriously disappears. Sonic's entire family is gone. It starts with Mutsky disappearing. Well, it starts with him finding the Mutsky is on, and then he realizes everybody is gone.
Everyone, all of his family's gone.
And upon leaving, he discovers every Robian has completely disappeared. And it's all done through narration, this big whole thing.
I hate that so much.
I don't mind that it's all done through narration.
I think that...
I do, because it feels like they're just skipping over stuff.
It makes it impersonal, yeah.
That's fair,
yeah, exactly. Like, it's supposed to be this dramatic thing, and it's just told like it's a bit of history.
Yeah, and it's a bad setup for a thing that is also really, really hard to justify. Because, well, they don't tell us exactly what happened here, but we'll find out later on that Bruce was right on the money last week. And so all the Robians are gone. Everybody is upset. Bunny gets to stay, I guess, because technically she's not a Robian even partially now because of the cybernetic surgery. But so everybody is gone for just over 2 weeks, I think. Yeah,
something like that.
And then
could have fooled me because it just moves on in you only stick on that for like 2 pages.
And to be fair, this probably should have been a more substantial story.
This should have been an entire issue on its own.
Yeah.
Well,
they were trying to go somewhere.
Let's be fair. We don't think I do not expect full issue stories anymore.
You should.
I want them, but I don't expect them.
Yeah, it's going to be a while before we see anything like that again. But yes, so Sonic receives word later that Mutsky is back, but more than that, he's de-roboticized. And then all of the other Robians show up, de-roboticized.
Just out of nowhere.
Armand the General, Mina's mom, all of the wolves. Lupe is miscolored as Sally here.
Yeah, I thought that was Sally.
Yeah, and funny. Eventually... Okay, we can talk about Jules in a second. Can I say that I fucking hate this?
You can, because I think I at least agree.
I don't outright hate it, but it's definitely disappointing that it's done so anticlimactically.
Here's what this is. I know you're going to say something, Lauren. I need to get this out because I'm going to explode.
Okay.
We have had roboticization for so long as a problem. We've had Robians for so long as a conflict. I don't care necessarily that we don't find out why they're de-roboticized here. We'll come later, and frankly, the issue where we do find out what happened is more interesting than this. But
that was not hard.
The fact that it just happens, and that, spoiler alert, this is something that was essentially handed to them, sucks so much. because
This does feel like something that should have been fought for.
this is something that the heroes should have to figure out on their own. I don't even mean like it's unfair to have what happened happen, but it should have been something that the heroes had to work toward.
Right.
It's just given to them.
Right.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this is something that's been a problem with robotization for as long as de-robotization has been a thing. Whereas it's very hit or miss whether the story just decides, okay, now you're de-roboticized, or there has to be a whole ordeal. Like, sometimes it's taken seriously, and sometimes it's just like, no, I don't want this character to be a robot anymore. And this feels like yet another entry in, we need to change the status quo, and we don't care about making a good story that does it. We're just gonna do it. Somebody decided, no more Robians. None.
Right.
Get them out of here.
Well,
Fine. Then we'll just tell about how that just happened.
Right. To me, this feels like a mandate that came down from like the editor or something, saying no more Robians.
And that's
we don't care
also
about that
sad
anymore.
Because it makes me think.
Well, it kind of
it's not that
that's
Eggman is not going to care about that anymore, which kind of lowers the stakes.
That's something that they could have. That's a future plot point they could have used. An arc about de-roboticization. That is just off to the wind now.
I definitely do wonder if there was ever a point that this came down from the editor. I don't think it could have come down from SEGA. I mean, it's not that it couldn't have, but it wouldn't have.
I don't think so.
SEGA very famously gives no shits about characters that aren't from the games.
Right.
And that's what all of the Robians are. So, yeah, maybe, it's like, I want to say that maybe, because it's called The Last Robian, this next part, which is about Jules, is the point of it, but A, you're still sacrificing something that should be way more elaborate for that, and B, even if you do say that, it only gets 2 pages, so it's like, why? It seems like a waste.
It's a total waste. It's bizarre. It's like, just last issue, they were talking about how Jules couldn't, play the guitar anymore.
Right.
So, you don't have to make everyone else better to make Jules, suffering or whatever. It's just unnecessary. And I suspect this won't, when you have this setup, it also tells to me, oh, okay, they're going to fix Jules soon, too. So, it also kind of takes away that pressure as well. Because before, I'm honestly, I didn't know if they would ever be de-roboticized. I wasn't expecting it.
To be fair, I expected de-roboticization at some point, especially after that story.
Well, before the BEM showed up. I didn't necessarily expect it.
Even before the BEM, I figured it would be figured out. There'd be some sort of breakthrough in the plot where we'd suddenly figure out wait, we can use X random technology as a basis to start researching de-roboticization more heavily.
Well, and we'll see later when the BEM do show up again, that is to say later past today's episode, that there is conflict in how the BEM did this and what they did, and if they had had all of that play out beforehand and be part of the path to getting everyone de-roboticized, it still probably wouldn't have taken more than 2 issues, which maybe would still feel abrupt, but it would have been,
I guess,
something. Having them do it like this is just very, very disappointing.
Yeah.
Also, just to show that who wrote this monstrosity?
It's Ballers.
Ballers. Every time I think he's doing good, he just fails me. I'm sorry, but yeah, no, Ballers ain't necessarily all that. He is narrow focused on the goal and not even paying attention to you can't just call Eggman on the phone and ask him, why did you do this? And Eggman's just like, no, bye. You can't do that. What? Huh? No. This is not an interaction that happens.
I mean, I assume that he's in Robotnik's place. I think that Sonic running to maybe it's just the fact that he's on a screen instead of in person, but Sonic going to be like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why did you do this? And why did you de-roboticize everyone except my dad? Makes sense. And I do like Eggman's response, which is, fuck you, I never de-roboticize. Why would I do that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I doubt Eggman would have a de-roboticizer anyway.
He did in the old comics, but those often...
That was Robotnik, not Eggman.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure Robotnik did.
All you would have needed from me, this story is just doing everything too quickly. If there was just a moment when Eggman was go away and shoots a bunch of missiles at him or something, then I would have felt better about this. But Eggman's just there to be no, I didn't do it. Like everything
I guess,
here is just a tool. There aren't many characters here. They're just events.
You bringing up, how it feels. The entire story feels very abrupt. Yeah.
All of these comics, their big problem is that they always just their idea of better is just more. Put in more stories. Don't worry about whether they need time to breathe. Don't worry about whether something makes sense to happen in a good time. Just keep pushing more. And it's so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then I don't understand.
The problem with Penders is that Penders is less always. Just do less with this. Just make it more boring, more slow.
And I don't understand why they decided to suddenly go back to 3 stories, because they had 3 stories for a while, then went back to 2 stories, and for a few issues even only had 1 story. But for the most part, for a long time, it was just 2 stories per issue. And now suddenly, in the last 2 weeks, we've suddenly been getting 3 stories, and all the stories end up feeling truncated and abrupt.
Yeah, I am in awe that they decided to do it this way, and it does piss me off.
I mean, yeah, I'm just confused what the idea behind this was.
Let's leave the story that pisses us off behind and move into Sonic the Hedgehog number 124. It's Shadow, motherfuckers.
Holy crap, we saw Shadow for like what, 2 panels or like 2 pages? Like,
yes.
Fucking 3 weeks ago.
He is back, and he is here to stay. The story that was too big for a single issue, the 125th issue extravaganza, starts here, and they call it Sonic Adventure 2.5.
As kind of silly that name is, that name totally fits also.
It's bold is what it is.
It is.
I'll give it that.
It's bold. I feel like it fits pretty well.
Well, we'll see.
This is the alpha side of the story. They have one that's alpha, and then part 2 is omega. And yes, Carl Baller's writing, Axer and Butler drawing. The heroes and villains of Mobius alike are shocked to their core by an alien invasion, finishing a war that started over 3,000 years ago. Not quite yet, though. We start with Super Shadow in space at the end of Sonic Adventure 2. Maybe?
I don't think so.
No, this isn't the end of SA2.
Oh, sorry.
No.
We see the end of SA2.
And this is him leaving. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
This is just after what we'll see in a second.
Yeah.
Also, bold way to start with Super Shadow, because we haven't seen Super Sonic in a long time.
Yeah.
That's true, actually.
So we get a big... So we got 1 page to explain SA2 and 1 to explain how Shadow survived, basically. So our SA2 recap is about what you expect from the issue. We have slightly scary-looking Maria. I'm not sure what's going on with her face. Gerald is freaky, too.
Maria's not that bad compared to Gerald.
I do like the Gerald because he's related to Eggman. So
he looks like somewhere between Eggman and Robotnik.
He's a crazed old man. It fits.
Right.
Why is Shadow's chest yellow?
I don't know.
Color errors.
Errors.
Or not Axer. Jensen is just coloring it wrong for these issues, and it'll be a little while until he gets it right. It's weird because it's right on the cover. Spazion did fine.
Yes, Spazion.
True. I mean, the yellow chest fur is like not that big of a deal, to be honest.
Threw me off.
I don't mind it either. It actually kind of looks nice.
But it's like, why?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Shadow, they did everything like in SA2, and Shadow fell, but rather than simply smacking into the ground and living, he was saved by the BEM. Which
they came back a lot faster than I expected.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Wait, where are we on the game's timeline? What game is out at this point?
Current.
Heroes is current and Shadows is on the horizon.
Wait a minute. I guess I could have formulated this plot line beforehand. But this is weird because there have definitely been things before that like contradict the games, but not like this, where it feels like a complete overwrite.
I was really surprised to hear Devin mention that there was an abortive attempt at a Shadow adaptation, because this kind of feels like it's just trying to. It just feels like it would lead to something completely different from Shadow.
Yeah,
That I don't see how they could go into Shadow from there.
uh-huh.
Well, I mean, they would have a completely different explanation for what happened. But yes, because importantly, Shadow has not lost any of his memories.
Right, and that's
Exactly.
that's the big
Kind of
point
important.
of that's the big point of Shadow the Hedgehog is that he doesn't have his memories.
So my theory would be that Sega said, yeah, Shadow is in Sonic Heroes, he's alive, he's back, but they maybe didn't tell them about the amnesia.
Oh, so basically the same thing that happened with Sonic Battle.
Potentially, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I guess if another branch of Sonic Team didn't have that info, why would these comic licensors?
Right.
So yeah, I don't mind the Ben saving him. I guess it kind of makes
No,
sense.
that makes sense. That makes sense enough.
No, it's fine. It's just unexpected.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, again, I was surprised to see them show up again so soon, and for them to, basically abort Shadow the Hedgehog's adaptation, which that's probably for the best.
No, that is totally a good thing.
Temporarily abort Shadow's adaptation again, probably for the best.
Oh yeah, and I mean, there's one panel in this entire series with Black Arms in it until the reboot, at least.
Okay, well that's good.
Oh well, I mean, I like the Black Arms. I just don't like the Shadow plot.
Yeah.
The Black Arms are okay.
Well, it's okay. We're gonna have our own alien invasion, but I do think it actually makes sense that the Ben would be here because if we assume this is right after the last story,
the Ben were already in the system, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so of course they'd be there.
I will say, the BEM are just kind of doing things as usual. The anti-cherry on top is that they also can just make Shadow stay super. They can just do that.
Well, he says they imbued him with enough power to attain super form.
Yeah, but they don't have chaos
really.
Energy,
so.
I mean, do that. I don't know. Maybe they do have chaos energy.
They should have just given him an escape pod or something.
Well, no, but then
he couldn't have fought the aliens.
Yeah, they need him to be powerful to fight the other alien ship.
The weird thing is that Shadow even talks about using chaos control. So this has to be chaos energy. There's no way.
Yeah, there's no other way he'd be able to go super without chaos energy.
Yeah.
At the very least, he couldn't chaos control. But you keep assuring me the BEM are going to be good. But for the moment, the role seems to be to show up and make things happen.
They do the BEM really feel like they're just the shepherds of the plot.
Well, so I mean, the two
at least at the
things
moment
that they've been involved with up to this point have involved roboticization and spoilers, de-roboticization. We all know it was them. I think it's believable that they could take in Shadow just to be nice. Now, giving him chaos energy and telling him to fight this other alien ship is weird. I don't know about that. And again, you might as well have just given him a escape pod because he fights them for like 3 or 4 panels and then just gets knocked down to Earth aneh.
I mean, he was fighting to have an explosive start.
He was fighting a ship, so
Yeah. So,
Very.
So everything's just chipper and not whole, which I guess everybody being Durabro would make that happy.
Yeah.
Sonic is on a date with Sally, and they imply here that they're gonna get engaged.
Yes, Sonic is officially Sally's royal consort now.
Yeah, well, and Sally says, "Are you ready to pop the question?" And Sonic says, "Am I?" Which is a funny thing to say if you're not going to.
Am I? Okay, Sonic, sure thing, bud.
But don't worry, the story's not about that.
No, it isn't. That's just that's just a thing to kind of keep continuity.
That's a this cop is on his last week of work kind of line.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Because Eggman contacts Station Square and is like, yeah, okay, we need to work together. And it's like, what? What could be happening? And it's, well, there's a big spaceship here over Station Square. That's probably part of it. Actually, it's funny because Eggman's like, we need an alliance. And then the president's like, no. And then he's like, all right, fine, I'll just kill you then.
I'll kill you.
Maybe your replacement will be more
better.
Open to suggestions. Yeah. I love that. It's very reminiscent of Adventure 2, but it's got that comic Eggman twist to it.
Yeah. So Rouge is here. She saves him from egg assassination.
Not his driver, though.
Well, she says, like, oh, I'll go get him, but, like, maybe she doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think she had time. Well, it exploded like the moment she put the president down.
You're misreading. That's not the car that explodes, because Rouge sets the president down on top of a building, and maybe she'll go back to the other guy, but it makes sense that she'd be distracted, because the dome over Station Square, the entire mountain gets blown up.
Oh, that's what happened. Yeah, I thought that was the car.
Which is good, because that means we don't have to deal with the weird logistics of that anymore.
Alright, cool. That's nice, at least.
Oh, right, you mentioned that. Okay, cool. Yeah. That's good, I guess.
And, yeah, like you said, Sonic is the royal consort of Sally, and for once, Max is not objecting to that. It seems like a lot of times he would, but...
What the heck?
He has every other time it's been even remotely mentioned.
Yeah, this is very weird on multiple levels.
He kept wanting Sally to go for Antoine for some reason.
Because he just has to be the worst. That's why. Yeah, that's surprising, and just the fact that Sonic and Sally are even, being, boyfriend and girlfriend now. Like the pendulum has swung completely the other direction.
Yeah, I know.
Little did we know that bullet in her back was exactly what we needed from Mina in order to really get hitched.
God damn.
I'm imagining like a romantic comedy like this where they have like this will they won't they between the two leads, and there's some third party that wants the dude, and like he just can't decide between them, and so they just have the rival get shot, and that's how the movie ends.
I mean, yeah.
But it's okay. Max doesn't need to take issue with Sonic and Sally because causality does, as a meteor strikes in the background and it's Shadow.
Yep.
He's okay. He's not missing memories, thankfully. He wakes up and immediately punches Sonic, old school fight Knuckles for no reason style.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a weird one. I don't really get why.
Well, so okay, Shadow says sorry. I thought I was still under attack. So he's still in battle mode. That makes sense.
Right. He was in battle mode there. Fair enough.
The problem is that Sonic answers with "You are, you big poser." And it's like, no, he's not. You guys made up. Don't worry about it.
Well, he did just punch Sonic, so Sonic's probably in battle mode now.
But if he could hear Shadow saying that and saying "I'm sorry," then he needs to stop.
Sonic doesn't care about apologies.
It's true. He doesn't. He just cares about Sally, so then she can break it up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's what she always did in the old days, so whatever. So, Shadow's just here now. It's very funny, because the rest of the story basically doesn't concern him.
Okay, let's get into that. Okay, since you just went ahead and said that.
It kind of does feel like he should be concerned.
It feels like a huge
He basically started the story.
Yeah, he's on the cover. He gets me all excited. I'm like, oh, it's Shadow. He crashes down like a meteor. I'm like, okay, so he's gonna come here and he's gonna talk about how the aliens are attacking, and he's gonna be the one to help everyone take them down. No, he's just kind of in the background after this.
The ultimate life form should be doing ultimate life form things,
which is sitting in the background being ultimate.
Yeah, exactly. Clearly.
Okay.
Sitting in the background as a cheerleader.
You call it Sonic Adventure 2.5, which would be rightly Shadow the Hedgehog, I guess. He should be in the forefront.
I mean, yes, you're right. Shadow should be in the forefront.
Maybe the 0.5 is referring to how he only has a presence for half the issue.
Right, and half the plot line. Yeah. Well, no, a quarter of the plot line.
It's weird because they do reintroduce Shadow with a hostile alien invasion, but this is so far before Shadow that's just a coincidence.
It's an interesting coincidence, though.
Coincidences don't stop here either, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yes, so everyone from Knothole to Angel Island to Eggman to Station Square is talking about this alien invasion that's going on. Megapolis lies in ruins. They say Snively is missing, which I didn't actually know that they said that, because I was like, why doesn't he appear again until like 151 or something like that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he specifically says poor Snively is missing, so yes, I was right on the money. Eggman really has a soft spot for that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he needs a Machinations partner.
It's more than that, though. He's actually, like, distraught. I mean, he's panicking here, too, though.
Well, he's panicking because, his city's currently burning.
True.
So we cut across everybody, we see the ship, and finally we get a psychic message from the ship's inhabitants. It is in this moment they reveal themselves, they reveal history, it's everything. This is The XORDA. They are big-ass squids.
Yeah, and
Yeah. So heavy Black Arms vibes from these guys.
they do give Black Arms vibes.
Like, it's ridiculous
More-
how
More so
similar.
than Black Doom even gives Black Arms vibes.
Well, yes. But I mean, they're squids, so that Doom's Eye. There's
Right,
similarities
true.
there. They show up along with Shadow, and
Yeah.
they have a history with humanity, as we're gonna get to here in a minute, dating back thousands of years, and they
Right.
claim the moral high ground despite obviously being in the wrong. Like,
Yep.
it's all the same things. Like,
that
what
is
the heck?
really an interesting coincidence.
Yeah, because I guarantee Sonic Team didn't read this fucking comic.
I doubt it.
Oh no, it's just whack how similar.
It's just
it
an
is.
insane coincidence.
Yeah. And speaking of insane, although not coincidences necessarily,
Just insane.
194 comics we have read up to this point, set
Right.
in Archie Sonic's version of Mobius.
Right.
We get the reveal, the big one. Mobius was Earth all along, which we already knew.
Yeah, which we
But-
already theorized, and
I
you
only
confirmed-
really just
you-
kind of recognized
But
it.
I mean, Devin, you
recently.
also confirmed that like a year ago, also.
Yeah, you
But
just
this
said
is-
it.
This is where it becomes very, very explicit. This is the
Yeah, they
true
outright
history
say it.
of Sonic's world. 3,000 years in the past, these aliens, the XORDA, came to Earth on a mission of peace. But their ambassador that they sent was captured, killed, and dissected by humans. Which, fair enough, humans are bastards in these comics. That makes sense.
Yeah.
In response, XORDA High Command orders the entire planet be pelted with nuclear strikes to wipe out all life.
No, not just nuclear strikes, gene bombs.
Yeah.
So they literally just they like what exactly is a gene bomb? Is it just like unraveling? Well, I guess nuclear
XORDA
strikes already.
technology is going to be shown to be a little strange.
Okay.
Obviously, they create explosions.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
clearly they probably are nuclear strikes, but also like I'm guessing they do something with genetics also.
Yeah, I assume that they're meant to be somehow extra potent against living beings.
That
Yeah,
makes
I mean,
sense.
It's like
yeah.
it's like how they talk about how like certain kinds of bugs will survive a nuclear blast. This is probably supposed to be like even more than that, just obliterated down to the very last cell.
I assume the
literally
radiation
obliterate
that
genetics.
lingers, like, it won't just create mutations. No, it'll just kill you,
Yeah.
Oh, so it's neutron radiation.
I guess.
Evidently, though, it does
Right.
mutate that.
Well, yeah, it
And
fails, but not
this
for lack
is-
of trying.
This is the Adventure
Right.
Time twist, where all of your colorful main characters are revealed to be mutants from the horrors of World War III.
So, okay, yeah.
That is
Now that-
interesting.
Now, yeah, so you said this before, and I wasn't really. I was like, okay, whatever, if you say so, Devin. But now that we come to the reveal, I thought it was going to be like, a little bit. There was going to be a build up, and maybe you'd piece it together. I honestly didn't think
No.
it would ever be overtly stated like this.
I am
Um,
surprised that they are outright just saying, "Oh yeah."
Like, this is kind of a boring way to do that. To just be like, we are aliens, and did you know that this was actually Earth? What do you know? And like, who cares? Like, whatever, man.
So I think that's supposed to be it's supposed to mean more to us as the readers, as readers on Earth, as opposed to
Well, it doesn't, not to
the
me.
characters.
It's just like, what? This is unnecessary. What does this add? You're just trying to raise the tension, I guess, to be like, oh wow, like the humans were really bad, and there were the aliens here, and I don't know, like. When it's our world, it's supposed to make us care about it more or something, I guess. I don't know. To me, it's just like, what? It's like when you just threw. It's like a Sonic Live when you just threw Sonic in the real world. It's very
Yeah.
much like that. You're just bringing in the real world for no reason.
Yeah, I think that if you're gonna do Planet of the Apes, it's a little weird to do it with an ape as the main character. That reveal doesn't hit as hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the funny thing, is that they initially don't even believe the XORDA, and Sally's like, I'm gonna go do some historical research and prove them
Right.
wrong. And yeah, I do get it. I think that what it is it's meant to raise the stakes a little bit. It's meant to say, we killed humanity and now we'll do it again.
Yeah, I think that's really it. It's just,
and I don't blame
Yeah,
you for not being enthused by that, but I don't know. For me, it's just that like we have been seeing hints of this for so long that I'm glad that they said
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing
To
for
you,
me.
that's the way you see it because you're aware of this reveal. To me, the hints in quotes were just like Easter eggs. Like, these
That's
comics throw in
interesting.
silly things here and there all the time that are not meant to be taken as canon. Even the Statue of Liberty, it's just the Statue of Liberty, man. Don't think about it too hard. Like, that's literally. If you hadn't been ragging on about it all the time, I would have been like, "What? No, no, our world won't be ridiculous." And to be, yeah, like
I
it's
mean, I guess
it's cheap. They just wanted, yeah. It doesn't feel right.
I get what you're saying.
yeah.
I do. I'm in two minds. I both agree and disagree because I can see both sides of it.
Well, let's move on with the story.
Yeah, either way, the Zorda are back here to finish what they started, and everyone is the
Right.
target.
Mm-hmm.
Max becomes the second person to refuse an alliance with Eggman today.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
think he's
mean-
hoping that Eggman will just die to the Zorda now that he's organic again.
Which, I mean, to be fair, he probably would, and so will you.
Yeah, that's not what he ends up doing, so I don't know that that's actually what he's hoping. I think he just wants to. Well, he literally says basically, let's let him get sweat and get nervous for a while. He kind of just wants to. Well, there's two interpretations of this. One, Max is just being Max and wants a little bit of revenge against him, but is also being practical. But you could also say that if he lets Eggman get nervous and a little desperate, maybe he'll be more cooperative.
I
Maybe
guess
make
so,
more
yeah.
allowances, yeah.
Right.
And you know what? Fair enough. I don't mind Max being shitty to Eggman.
No, this
Yeah.
is one time where I'm like, okay, fine, sure.
Yeah. So they try to get in contact with Angel Island, but unfortunately, Locke drops the news that Knuckles died.
Oh yeah, did you miss? Yeah, it's the thing, guys.
But don't forget.
Oh yeah, your friend who is so divorced from your plot lines that you didn't even know about this. Yeah, he did. I don't know whether to say Knuckles or Gruckles because the body we saw was Knuckles, but Gruckles was the one who died.
I think it's safe to say Knuckles now.
I wonder if the bit is wearing thin with our subscribers. I hope not.
I mean, well,
Well, they don't have to endure it much.
it wasn't that long, to be fair.
Yeah, and
Uh-huh.
Hope spills the beans. The humans came under attack from this sort of ship.
This is funny because Hope hasn't shown up at all for a while. So it's like they finally found a use for her. Like they were like, all right, let's put Hope in Knothole, and then they realized, what's the point?
Crap, she has no purpose to be for being in Knothole.
I feel like Zorda could have come for any reason, but I feel like they specifically are like, let's use Hope for something.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that they're wanting revenge on Earth, not just humanity at this point, and them knowing that there's still life on Earth because they encountered a human ship.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
It makes sense. It's just funny.
It is
Yeah.
funny.
Well, and it's fun because this kills two birds with one stone with regard to Hope because it gives her a reason to speak up here, and it establishes what her deal is going to be for some coming issues, which is one of the funniest coincidences. Hope just looks the way she looks, but Shadow is like, hey, she looks just like Maria.
Yeah, she happens to look kind of like Maria.
Oh, that is funny.
Shadow's now. I'm guessing Shadow's now bonded to Hope like a fucking baby goose.
I saw that line and I didn't think anything of it, but that is hilarious.
Yeah, because it's a complete accident because Hope was introduced before Maria was a thing anyone knew about.
It's true, yeah.
So it's really funny. They don't do anything with it in this issue, but yeah.
No.
So Shadow will have.
But I can see the gears grinding in Shadow's head, though.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the ending twist is pretty weak because it's Sally just coming back and saying they're right. Earth and Mobius are the same planet, which is like, okay.
Yeah, we already
Why
figured
did
that
they
out,
even
Sally.
hold off on that reveal if they
Yeah,
were going to do it right there?
When it's like Earth does not matter to any of the characters alive right now. It's the name of the planet 3,000 years ago.
Well, the only thing
Uh-huh,
that matters,
uh-huh.
the only reason that name matters to them is confirming what they've basically already established.
Yeah, because Mobius is not... This might be part of the reason that Lauren has a hard time taking it seriously, is that Mobius really isn't post-apocalypse, it's post-rebuild.
Yeah, Mobius is post
It
apocalypse.
feels
This is
it feels
well
like a
after the
retcon.
apocalypse. The society has already rebuilt itself.
Yeah, and I guess that's why the Adventure Time version of the twist is better. It's because the characters don't care about it in that show, and that's why there's never an episode about that. It's just a background element.
Yeah.
So yeah. So to be continued. I still think this is a really interesting setup, but this is
So
not
do
the
I.
better half of the story.
No, this
Well,
this is the weaker half of the story. I still think it's important setup for the next half.
Yeah.
well, we'll see how it goes.
Yep. Unfortunately, that's not the end of the issue, because we still have one last Pender's story of the day. One last Pender's story for a while, in fact. This is
Goodness.
Afterlife Part 4, Penders and Mawini. Gruckles finally completes his journey through the afterlife with Aurora.
So before I read the next issue, I saw this and I was like, "Wait, Gruckles is still here? Oh no! Sonic Adventure 2.5? Oh no! Gruckles, you better not show up and blast the XORDA away with chaos energy."
I was half expecting that, but
yeah, the fact that because clearly he's gonna do something.
yeah, I mean, of course he's gonna do something.
Yeah.
Because I figured that we were getting to the point where it's like, yeah, he's gonna come back.
Yeah, so he's still reliving past events. I have nothing to say about this. We can just do you guys have anything we can skip over it?
No, it's just recap. Penders is just so proud of everything he's done. He wants to show it off. That's all it is.
Literally, I have two notes. A, that this was not the time for a Knuckles story.
Really?
We should have dealt with all this in like maybe 2 stories, or maybe even 1. But you know, we can't have prompt anything in these comics. And he's red again, so we can stop calling him Gruckles.
Not yet.
Okay, technically not yet, but fuck you. I'm gonna stop calling him Gruckles because that name is stupid.
Right.
Exactly, just like Green Knuckles is stupid.
Yes, yeah, Gruckles is stupid.
Well, because this next part is important, because Aurora's like, okay, it's time to ascend beyond life and death, and Knuckles is like, fuck that, you know, I got friends, I never got pussy, and she's like, no, do it, stupid, and then he just does.
Pussy.
And
the one thing he does get is not being green.
Yes, this is hilarious. We have had Gruckles with us for 34 issues. 34! So that is over 2 years, almost 3.
Damn, it's interesting because it doesn't. To me, it doesn't really feel like it's been that long.
Well, we're going rapid pace. Imagine doing this once a month.
That's true enough. It would be slow paced for people reading.
Yeah, and so Gruckles is the worst transformation any character got ever, because it looked lame, it was terrible, it was completely unclear and unfocused in terms of what he actually could do, and what he actually did do bordered on pointless almost all of the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we say goodbye to him in about the most appropriate way possible, which is Knuckles being like, "Can I be red again?" And Aurora's like, "You could have done that the whole time." He's like, "Oh."
Yeah, I don't know why. They made it very clear he was like all powerful. Why didn't he just think to like, I want to be red again?
It's so stupid.
It all circles back because yeah, he's all powerful, but half the time he doesn't know how to do anything.
Well,
and so
Knuckles,
this is just another extension of that.
Knuckles is kind of an idiot.
On another level in these comics, unfortunately.
Yeah, especially in these comics.
Because we have Knuckles being foolish a lot of the times when he shouldn't be in canon Sonic, and we have Knuckles being deliberately written as an idiot in like Sonic Boom, you know, as we just a buffoon. And then in these comics, Knuckles is stupid, but Penders doesn't want you to think he is.
No, he wants you to think Knuckles is the coolest guy around. In reality, he's a fucking moron.
Yeah, and this is... It's such a deadpan... It feels like a joke, but I can tell it definitely isn't.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not a joke.
Was Pender's hand forced for this?
Not in this issue. So we can talk about
So
that.
he turned him red of his own accord?
Maybe.
That's
actually,
hard to believe.
I don't know, but... Yeah, so delightfully brain-dead capped that whole stupid arc.
Thank God.
So
a fair shows up and is like, why are you being so roundabout and not just saying Knuckles is cool and the best and you have to do the whole thing? and make him realize it for himself or whatever, which is weird because that's like Thayer's whole thing is being roundabout and not saying anything straight.
Oh, but you see, this time he's saying it to a woman, so I'm gonna ignore
Oh,
that sentence.
He's saying it to God.
God can be a woman. It's fine.
No, yeah, God can be a woman. I don't care.
Yeah, but yeah, this is a stupid arc in a stupid arc in a stupid story.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know what? Here's the thing: we're not just done with Gruckles. After this issue, Knuckles and most of his friends are free. Because after this issue, Penters was told he could not keep doing this to Knuckles. He was told, you have gotten way off base. So turning him red again might be part of that. Penters might not have cared that much about him being red. Actually, I've heard some report that he actually forgot he made Knuckles green, which is hilarious.
Oh my god.
Okay.
But they said, you can't keep doing this. You can't have him be an overpowered god. You can't have him ascend further to different planes of the afterlife.
Right.
You know, put him back with his friends, have him help Sonic and company. And Penders said no. So he left. The next 5 issues are entirely Penders free, and the Knuckles of Mobius Prime will never again be written by Penders. Ditto for most of the Knuckles cast.
Interesting.
Wow.
So Angel Island is no longer Ken's domain. Ballers in the gang will get to play with Ken's toys, so to speak. And things are looking up for the guy. I'll say that much.
Okay. Interesting to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we end on a dumb note in that story, but it's a good note in a meta sense. And that will...
Sure. Yeah, I mean, like, yes, but that doesn't really make the story any better.
No, but it leaves me with some positive energy going into our final issue for tonight, the big milestone, Sonic the Hedgehog number 125. They got rid of the white backgrounds.
Thank goodness.
Thank God, yeah.
And yeah, the 5th milestone issue, and holy shit, this is Sonic Adventure 2.5 Omega. Written by Carl Ballers and drawn by Dave Monach, Art Mooney, Don Best, Ron Lim, Stephen Butler, and Jay Axer.
Had to get everyone who's working
one of those
on them
milestones
on here.
Hey, I don't think they've done that since issue 50, so...
No, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's true.
I'd like to point out before we move into the story that the cover here is one of those covers where they just feature like every single character. But what's interesting about this one is most of the characters are actually featured in the story. There's not like Astil because they're Astil and Snively is missing.
Right.
But pretty much everyone else is actually in the story, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah. But yeah, Sonic Adventure 2.5. So, it is the biggest conflict Mobius has ever faced as the world is set ablaze in a war with the Zorda, desperately rushing to stop the malicious invaders from wiping the entire planet. And yeah, so the original Days of Fury were the Zorda bombing runs, if you didn't catch that. But yeah, same that Thayer prophesied about in the Lost Tribe arc. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's an interesting callback, I will say.
Yeah.
So we need to talk to these guys. So Rotor has, I guess, very quickly built a special helmet to communicate with them.
Sure. Yeah, I mean that's what scientists do in these comics.
Yeah, you know,
like that.
Yeah.
Quick thinking on Sally's part to be like, you know what, Dad? Don't talk to them.
Maybe I should do it.
He would have made it worse somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, he would have just immediately declared war.
And I will say, the first part of this is drawn by Monarch, and other than a couple shots, his art actually doesn't look too bad.
Nah, it's not that bad.
Especially for someone who normally draws, comic panels. But it's like he draws the Zorda about as detailed as Butler did last time. So
yeah.
But yeah, so Sally tries to convince the Zorda that Mobians aren't the same as the warmongering humans they were familiar with. But as it turns out, they're more human than they know.
They're literally furries.
They share a bunch of DNA with humans.
Which, that's a little something I did not expect.
I mean, they're humanoid, so it's pretty obvious, honestly.
They're humanoid, but also I figured they would have just evolved that way. I guess the problem is, though, it's only been 3,000 years, and evolution doesn't work on that fast of a scale.
That's true.
I think what's weird is that if these are all, evolution affected by mutagenics, why would it coincidentally make them more human?
Yeah.
Well, that's not the part that really bugs me about this. what bugs me about this is I'm like, oh, we're gonna get some negotiation. And I'm sure it's not gonna like solve the plot instantly, but instead, it doesn't even solve anything. Sally just goes there. It's like, hey guys, like we're not the humans that betrayed you, and then the Zorda just like, well,
We don't really care.
You're related to them, so we'll still
You're
murder
related
you all.
to the. Well, I think at this point they just want revenge on the planet.
Yeah, apparently, but that's
They're
really
just using the sizable percentage of human DNA as an excuse.
like okay. This is just disappointing. Like
And
they're just here to destroy the planet. That's all they are here for. They're just a big destructive force.
I wouldn't have minded seeing more of Sally trying to discuss with them, but it would have. The problem is, it would have ended the same way, no matter what.
I think their
Yeah, but at least
is...
have some back and forth. But it's like, hey, thing, and they're like, I don't care.
I'll tell you what they should have done.
I'll agree with that.
They should have had Sally go, it's the humans who are warmongering creeps, and then the Zorda said, oh, really? What about your fucking dad?
Yeah.
I would have accepted that a lot more easily.
But yeah, it does not work at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a little bit of a missed opportunity there. And, Eggman... I really like how Eggman comes up here, because he contacts him again and say, all right, please help. And he introduces himself as Max's number one
pal.
I don't know if this was on purpose, because they don't explicitly say it, but I have to think that he's trying to call upon way back when he was a warlord.
Oh my god.
It could be that.
Maybe he's just hoping Max forgot about the coup.
Right. Yeah. I just wish he had said that overtly, because I don't know if that was what they were going for.
Hey, it's your number one pal, Max.
I like to think of it how, Sonic games will, occasionally have Eggman come up and be like, I'm reformed. I'm just here to help people. But it could be both, I guess. Yeah, so he decides he has the solution. It's a
mech.
It's something between a Transformer and a Gundam, and it's called Gigabot Prime.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
Yeah? I mean, what was the name of the other giant robot we saw, what was it, last week?
I don't think it had a name. It might have, actually. I can't remember.
I thought this was just like an updated model of that.
It might as well be.
I mean, that was basically what it was.
Yeah, but apparently he needs Sonic to power it.
Which why would he make a robot to do that?
He built it really fast when he thought that they would.
That's what I was just thinking. He's like, shit, I need to build this now. I mean, he does basically have robot slave labor.
I think that is the idea, but this is very contrived, I must say. Like, really? Built robot that is only powered by Sonic. Just so that, like, this is the best the writer should come up with for, okay, we've got to have Eggman and Sonic work together. Like,
I mean,
really?
I don't mind that idea.
I want Sonic fighting alongside Metal Sonic.
That would be cool.
Yes, that would be better.
Cool. I'm pretty sure that's never happened in any Sonic continuity.
I'm surprised that didn't even happen as like a fake out, alliance or something.
I'm trying to remember.
Right. Well, I don't know. I'm a sucker for, big bad and hero have to work together because there's an even bigger bad.
Yeah.
It's just a boring way of doing it.
Having him sure. A giant robot is silly.
Well, no. Yeah, no. I mean, I'll agree with that. It's not the best way to do it.
I do like that Max says you have to give up a bunch of your territory and then we'll do it.
Yeah. I call bullshit on Eggman controlling 99% of the planet.
Yeah,
Fuck that.
That's definitely not true.
That's total bullshit. Also, I don't think the Kingdom of Acorn could even remotely control that much land.
That is true as well.
And well, not even that many people. They don't have the fucking infrastructure, political or literal infrastructure to control half the fucking planets.
Yeah.
I think this is just a power move on Max's part, if I'm honest.
I mean,
100% is.
That's what I figured.
He actually does it after this issue. So.
No,
I mean, everyone knows that this isn't going to happen.
Well, you can't make a deal with Eggman. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
But anyway, so they make that agreement, and it's like, fine. And Knuckles rematerializes in the afterlife. And because he realizes that his friends are in danger, it's like, I can't do this. I gotta go help them. So that's our reverse direction.
Yeah.
Also, This is Knuckles being immediately confrontational and not taking no for an answer, I might add. Something that Penders never has him do.
Well, yeah, he's breaking free.
His Knuckles doing something that, like, I think Knuckles would actually do.
Yeah.
And the dialogue is, I mean, it's fine. Ballers is never a dialogue wizard, but it's not
No,
Penders.
but, like, right, it's dialogue that actually makes sense in the context of what's going on.
Yeah, it was
instead
like Knuckles
of
says, "You told me we only get one life. Is that true?" I bet if Penders wrote that, it's like, "Before you had relayed to me the idea that we would only be able to live our lives once. Can you say for certain that that's actually the truth?"
The point is, it's written differently, and I think that's certainly true, because before, like, Aurora was acting all high and mighty, and now they're, like, stammering, like, when he asks, oh, are they going to be okay, all of my friends?
And also, before this would have been, like, 4 different stories.
That's true. It would have taken 4 stories from this one page to happen.
It would have been 1 panel per story.
Yeah. So we cut back. Sally's giving everyone a pep talk, and it's really funny seeing Shadow drawn by Art Mawini.
Yeah, getting Mawini drawing some of these more modern characters doesn't really work.
It looks like somebody photoshopped him into Sad AM.
It does. And Amy on Dulcie also looks a little off.
Yeah. But everyone is gearing up for this. It's too scary. We even have like the Dingoes and the Dark Legion marching hand in hand.
Yeah, we have a greater enemy that we all need to deal with. So, we have the techno Nazis and the actual Nazis.
Normally, I would be like,
aesthetically at least,
okay, this is happening over the course of like a few weeks, but no, because the Zorda like, we're gonna kill you all now.
Yeah, no, this is happening over the course of a few hours.
Apparently, is happening. Yeah, like no way. Like it doesn't matter if the whole world is gonna end. There's no way they would all just cooperate like this. That would actually make it harder for them to cooperate.
It's a panic. I think it's just it's idealism.
If the Zorda gave them like a countdown timer for a few weeks, and then
we'll destroy the planet in fucking 48 hours.
That's still pretty low, but yeah.
Well, I don't know why the Zorda would. I don't know why. I don't know why the Zorda would give the Mobians longer than like 30 seconds.
Yeah. There's no like nothing to consider. It's just we're gonna kill you. That's all the Zorda are here for.
Yeah, I think. When you're in that kind of situation, people are either going to act one of 2 ways. They're either going to panic and run around the streets naked, or they're going to be steadfast resolve of we're going to stop them in some way.
Yeah. See, the thing that gets me, I believe it with the Kingdom of Acorn. I believe it with Eggman.
Sure,
but you cannot tell me that literally every single group that we've seen, like in the entire comics. You cannot believe me that they all banded together. Impossible.
No, that is true. I could even see it with the Dingoes and the Dark Legion, because the Legion was already
in Echidnopolis. So.
Yeah, the Legion was already integrating into Echidnopolis. I don't know how long that's going to last, but at the moment they are. And the Dingoes are doing something. We haven't really seen them in a while.
Yeah, I admit it's a little silly.
But no, the idea that all these groups that we've seen, I think the only one we don't see is the 40 Fathoms Freedom Fighters.
Yeah, I don't think they do. I think that is one notable absence.
No, I'm going to be honest. I don't. I'm going to be honest.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I don't remember the fucking nerves.
Yeah, Moby is actually kind of notable absence because he did show up past his introduction.
All right.
My point is, it's the Pandorica Alliance problem, and I don't really like it.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of silly, Sonic really is powering Gigabot Prime by pumping pedals with his feet. It's a pedal car.
I mean,
yeah.
Of all the ways Eggman could have done this, he chose the most demeaning for Sonic.
Well, yes, and that does make sense.
That totally makes sense. I enjoy that. Because he could have just had Sonic running in a big, like, hamster wheel.
I don't mind it being goofy. It's a stupid idea.
Fine.
I don't, it does punt the ship directly into the sky before it can do anything.
God damn.
Yeah, like, Eggman was having a lot of trouble before, and then you just punch it.
Because Eggman didn't have a giant robot yet.
I guess. And he could build a giant robot under all that bombardment.
I'm pretty sure he just had this bad boy in storage.
But
Then he was
needed Sonic
waiting
power.
until he could get an alliance with Sonic for some reason.
Yeah, well,
Seems like an Eggman Gambit to me.
to be that is an Eggman Gambit, but well, I mean, literally the next page.
Yeah, so
Yeah, he
the
plays his
Zorda,
cards so early.
Yeah,
the Zorda are flustered by this, but they pull back up into the just above the planet, basically. And then Eggman pulls a scheme which locks Sonic into the robot.
yeah. This was clearly the actual reason why Eggman wants to make a robot that Sonic could control.
Yeah.
I'd like
power.
to point out that there's this dialogue between Sally and Sonic where she's like, "Oh, I could kiss you, Sonic." He's like, "Go ahead." Like, they're being so cute together now for some reason. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
completely
kind
the
of-
other direction.
Yeah, it's like it's a little bit of tonal whiplash.
Yeah. Of course, that's not the real end, obviously, and
No, that would be
What a
really
surprise.
anticlimactic.
No, because we have to have three stories in this issue. Right?
We get another Knuckles story.
Imagine.
so, yeah, God. So the Zorda retreat into orbit and drop this pole that fans out into kind of a fin shape as it turns.
It's a sundial.
It is a sundial.
Yeah, it's the quantum dial.
Right, it's a
superweapon
dial, not specifically a sundial.
It's basically a black hole that obliterates.
It's a black hole. Yeah, it's a black hole generator.
Yeah, obliterates not just Earth but everything in the solar system.
Well, yeah, it's gonna make if it makes a big enough black hole. Yeah, it could just eat up the entire star system.
I mean,
Yeah. So yeah, the Zorda just like, okay, black hole time, boys.
Yeah, you punched us out of the sky. Fuck you. We're just gonna destroy We're gonna open a rip in the fabric of space.
Like, I mean, I don't know why they didn't just lead with this, but I don't know.
The story will be a lot shorter
Yeah, that is the reason,
because
obviously.
we would be forced to have another Knuckles story.
yeah. So we've all got a new target, including the robot that Sonic's trapped inside. So everybody's heading toward that now. Knuckles, he's kind of like, oh, being one with the Force might be groovy, but I just realized I can come back to life, you idiot. So
It's more groovy.
Also, Aether is back to normal now.
Yeah, he was. That's. Yeah.
He was wearing a white robe.
Yeah.
That didn't dawn on me until I saw this. I was like, wait a second.
yeah, that's what he's.
Aether looks different, and then I realized no, he doesn't look different. He looks normal.
That's funny.
Yeah, Knuckles says, "Too bad, I'm going back. Deal with it, bitches."
Fuck you, God. I'm leaving.
Yeah, God does say you might have to lose something if you do this, hinting at something that we'll finally get. But yeah, he just leaves anyway.
Yeah, and he's going to be written as more defiant from here on out, which is nice.
That's good.
Goodness.
Meanwhile, I assume this is Station Square shooting missiles at the quantum dial.
Yes.
Yeah. The computer viewed the aliens as a threat, and so they just launched the nukes.
Remember,
the president didn't even
self-defense.
command it.
They kept
The presidential-
Peace Walker.
Why not?
The Peace Walker.
That's what. Peace
I mean, it was
Walkers
a good thing that it did.
I know that is just Peace Walker.
Yeah, but the nukes don't do anything; they just fall to pieces.
Yes, because the quantum dial can just make all technology fall apart. I want to know what level. Or technology-based weapons. I want to know, like, what does it consider technology? So clearly a missile, and in a few pages we'll also see Gigabot as well falls apart. Would it consider like a firearm technology?
I assume so. Yeah. If there's one thing you're going to talk about, I also noticed that thing, but we'll talk about that at one point. But yeah, it's just like, the aliens just keep pulling extra things out of their brains, I guess.
It's the
It's like
block
your
everything
recess.
shield.
Yeah, the everything from Shield. We went to the right same place.
Seriously.
Of course.
Yeah, but this means that because they can't launch weapons at it, and they've got guns that come out of the ground. Not sure how they deployed those, but whatever.
Yeah, that's a good question.
It means that the correct solution is to run at it really fast.
I
Sure.
mean, look, Sonic's power scaling in this comic makes no sense anyway.
And
Real.
so, yeah, this is the part where we get, like, I don't know, like 8 panels of crowd shots here.
Yeah, I just have to show every single character that's
Right.
ever shown up practically.
And I
Obviously, it can't be all
agree.
of them, but
I agree that every society collectively jumping to it doesn't make sense, really. I think that having a
Yeah.
lot, this amount of named characters from the comics all work together because they've all been involved with this stuff.
Sure.
the problem with this is that it's on such a short time scale.
That's fair. Yeah.
If the aliens had just not been immediately all guns blazing, and maybe there'd been some time where there were negotiations, maybe Sally could have stalled them for a little bit or something, or maybe
maybe they send a
aliens
message.
took some time to set up the quantum dial instead of just deploying it instantly.
Well, I would assume, based off of what it does, it would need time to fully finish, to set up and fully finish turning.
Maybe that's even the idea, but they didn't make it very clear that that's
No,
the
they
case.
didn't.
If so,
I think
it's just so like this is reminiscent of like Endgame, where you had a whole bunch of different forces at different times
Yeah.
getting together, but that was over the course of a lot of different comics, and there was definitely
That was planned out over the course of a while.
so. But this just happens all at once, and we don't even get to see the groups like gathering together. They're just here suddenly.
I mean,
Oh,
yeah, they
look at
didn't.
it.
That's part of the problem. They didn't have time to do that. I will agree. Yeah, they should have like started with the Zorda like sending a warning message before they actually enter the Earth star system.
yeah, you are right about the timescale. I think it's like if we had just all of the heroes of the Acorn Kingdom, because you can send all of them out once. And
Sure,
Sure, yeah.
you can maybe send.
I could understand the chaotics also.
Yeah, all the Chaotix, all the
Mhm.
Knuckles friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
after that point that things start to get shaky. You're like, okay, you could send some gun guys. That maybe.
I could see gun special forces
Yeah.
being able to get out there
Yeah.
fast. Sure.
But and obviously Eggman, but throwing the
Eggman,
Dingoes
yeah.
in there, throwing the Dark Legion in there, throwing in
We got the Down Under Freedom Fighters, the Kingdom of Mercia,
the Arctic ones.
yeah, the Arctic Freedom Fighters,
I guess
the
the
Wolf
Wolfpack
Pack.
hadn't left yet, had they?
Yeah, they did.
I think they
Okay.
did.
But I'm guessing
Monkey
there
Khan is there.
Yeah,
That's right, Khan's there.
he's independent. He could come.
Yeah, Khan could probably get there. The Wolf Pack, I think they're probably in close enough contact with the Kingdom of Acorn. They could probably get there.
Yeah.
No idea how the Goon Squad is here.
They got roboticized for all of like what, a week.
Yeah, yeah. I was kind of expecting that to be a bigger deal.
Me too.
Well, you'll kind of backwards get what you want.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
There's some bullshit. It's gonna happen in 2 weeks, though, not one. Anyway,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so I definitely get what you're saying about how there's a little... They're trying to go so big that they're losing part of their reasoning for how it makes sense.
Yeah.
100%.
And
They're
really,
just,
if they had just
keep trying to raise the stakes.
Yeah.
chosen different characters to draw, it wouldn't have made much difference. So
Oh, totally. It's not like you couldn't easily fix it. But
Well, the easiest
that it is
fix
such
would-
an easy fix also
Yeah.
kind of makes it worse in a way. Like,
Yeah.
the fact that they thought they could just get away with this.
I think most people probably wouldn't care all that much. Well, because
Yeah, I care about these comics way too much. It's true.
well,
It's true.
The
I admit
primary
it.
audience, excuse me, which is probably like 8 to 13-year-olds.
I mean, this story clearly has no interest in being anything other than fun. So
Yeah, well, at this point, it's basically just fan service.
we're talking about this
Uh-huh.
because it's one thing. It's not like this is not still a step up from a lot of what we've been dealing with before.
Sure, yeah, no, this is still cool.
Well, yes, true. It's a lot better than those mediocre stories. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's continue because I mean the important part isn't even concerning all of that anyway.
The important part is that Tails has reunited with Fiona Fox. Look at that.
It's funny, I didn't actually notice that he says, "Look out, Fiona." I just saw him say, my brain just deleted the word Fiona from there.
Has she even been around? I feel like I haven't seen her in forever.
I don't
has
think
not
she
shown up in
has,
so
so I
long.
don't know why she's here.
This is so shocking, like that they put this in, that I have to imagine they're going to follow up on this soon. This has to be like a seed they're planting.
So-
because if not, what the heck? Why are you just throwing that in there? That's such a
Well,
Fiona-
I've had
Fiona
it.
will be
Well,
around.
double take.
I've had it spoiled for me that this does get followed up on.
Okay, well that makes a lot of sense. But it's just such a thing to
Or
throw in there in the
sort
middle of
of.
everything else.
Fiona's existence gets followed up on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so Sonic and Sally do manage to get close to it. I don't know why Nicole's not falling to pieces. Maybe it's not considered a weapon, I guess.
Yeah, she's not a
that's
weapon.
The thing I was gonna bring
Nicole's,
up. Oh, is
Nicole's
it just
not a weapon.
weapons?
Yeah,
okay.
it does say technology-based
yes,
weapons.
That's true. Okay, well there you go then.
But they are basically too late because the dial sends out a wave of death? Question mark.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what they call it something, but yeah, it's just gonna kill everyone who's close to it.
Quantum wave burst. Okay.
Right.
And it's like you're already a black hole.
You know,
well, but that takes time to charge, so it needs to fight
Right.
off the things that are trying to shut it down.
Well, they would need truly godlike power to stop that. Speaking
of which, really?
Speaking of which, here's I'm guessing which pretty much the last of Gruckles we're going to see.
It's not even Gruckles.
No, it's just Knuckles using like the last of his power.
The wave of death is stopped by a wave of life, namely Knuckles returning to it, and yeah, it's classic Knuckles. It's real Knuckles.
This isn't green. This isn't written by Pendies. This is just Knuckles.
Yeah. And it's very funny because he's like, all right, we're going to need Gruckles to take care of this. Let's go. And then he falls over. And it turns out...
Because he has no powers anymore.
He is... And later issues will say this, so I guess I'm spoiling, but he's not just not Gruckles. He actually has almost no power at all. He can't even glide at this point.
Oh, interesting. Wait a second. Wait a second. But that's not supposed to be one of his powers. That's just something that he can do.
It's supposed to be just that his quills create lift.
Guardians can do that, I thought.
Well,
yeah,
okay.
Said that only Guardians can do it.
Yeah, Guardians can do it, but like, fuck, that's dumb.
It's dumb, but
it is dumb, but it's just that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Well, that is not something I knew, so let's not get into that anyway.
I just think it's funny to go from strongest Knuckles to weakest.
I mean, I'd rather weakest Knuckles that's like actually Knuckles than strongest Knuckles written by a psychopath.
I am very glad to have regular Knuckles back here.
I'd just be happy for him to be red again.
Well, he was already red from the end of last issue.
I mean, yes, he was, but like...
Honestly, this solves not just Gruckles. Because, believe it or not, we've had a little of Gruckles in these comics for a long time before actual Gruckles was here. Because he exploded multiple times before.
That's true.
Like, this has been a long-standing issue ever since microwaved the baby. But now we're finally rid of the stupid chaos nonsense. And so, even though within this story it doesn't really have much relevance, he just gets rid of a thing that showed up like 2 pages ago. I'm glad that this happened.
Yeah, and it's not really coming back, so...
I will say this. I have one complaint about this. Initially, maybe it's just because I'm an idiot. I thought Knuckles just fucking saved the day.
Oh, yeah, well...
I thought Knuckles just showed up in Deus Ex Machina for the last time.
Well, so this is the thing, is that I think it builds it up like he's going to save the day, and then him having nothing is a twist.
Well, no, but like he shows up and destroys all the laser cannons and reflects the wave back, basically.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was like he was using the last of his Gruckles powers.
It might be that.
I don't blame you, because... That is the way it seems to be going, and I think that's on purpose.
I was like, damn, alright, Sonic doesn't get to do anything, I guess, fucking...
Well, and that's the thing, is that he does save that part of the day, but the day's not totally saved.
Right, I'm guessing what he did to the dial, at least, is give Sonic more time, because I think they kind of made it seem like they were basically out of time.
More time, yes, but just a few seconds. We're still out of time.
I mean, that's all Sonic really needs.
Yeah, they're saying, well, I'm just gonna run directly into it, and whatever happens, happens.
Really?
Live fast, eat ass.
I think it was earlier. They're like, how can we stop it? And Nicole was like, well, maybe if you just ran really fast around it. I sure wish we had a main character that ran really fast.
Yeah.
Because that just happens to be the specific weakness of this thing. Don't do it, Sonic, by the way, because you'll die or whatever. Definitely that'll happen. But yeah, that's the only way to save it. Save everyone. It's just run fast.
Because of course
like, all right, man, I'll do the thing. Let's go, Sonic speed.
Okay,
like,
you say that.
Seriously?
He has like a tearful goodbye with Sally.
No, he doesn't want to do it, but he knows he has to.
Yeah, although it is
I'm
like,
just saying, he just
But
does his normal thing, and that's all it
Yeah.
takes. It's very disappointing.
I mean, it's basically what I expect from him, so I can't. I guess I can't be too
Yeah, I
disappointed.
expect that in lesser stories. Usually, at least he's. I mean, technically, I guess he built upon Gruckle's, kind of. But Gruckle's didn't damage it, it just stopped the attack.
Yeah,
Usually, it's a culmination, and they all together, they're able to get to the heart of the operation or whatever. But here, it's not really. It's more like the other people are just. They're trying to help, and they're not really doing much. I don't know. Like
yeah, it's all
the
left
fact
up
that
to
they
Sonic.
broke the gun doesn't even
Yeah.
matter. Like, who cares? The other fighting is irrelevant. That's part of why I also don't like that they brought everyone together, is because there was no reason for it. Literally, you just needed
Well-
Gruckles to stop the wave, and I don't like Gruckles anyway. And then you just needed Eggman. Well, I mean, you could have just had Sonic run there for that matter.
Yeah.
But maybe
Yeah.
the Eggman robot you could use counts for a little bit. But certainly you don't need all the other stuff. Like, it's all just extra dressing. And I don't like dressing on my salad.
All right, well,
all right, yeah.
yeah. So cheesy narration shows up. So does Axer's artwork, which certainly lends this an impactful visual. Even if I do
Yeah.
agree that the plotting of it is pretty messy. But Sonic, he runs around the thing, and there's a big explosion, and the day is saved. But Sonic is nowhere to be found.
I mean,
like Nicole said.
yeah, they already knew that was going to happen, so
Yeah, I mean, they said he would die, and well, as far
And
as
he
they know,
did.
he did.
yeah. As far as they know,
This is kind of like a throwback to the old comics in that he's obviously not dead. That's obvious, and I don't even think they expect readers to not expect him to be alive. I don't know why I said it like that, but we do get throwbacks to the old comics, which they have his funeral. They even do the big statue in his honor, like that old comic.
right?
Yeah. Is that the statue from Sandblast City? Kind of
No, he
looks
destroyed
like
that
it.
one. That had the transmitter
Oh.
inside it.
It's
I like-
still, yeah.
It's pretty similar. I like that the engraving says "Save the world" in parentheses a lot.
A lot. I mean, yeah,
Uh-huh.
he did.
The writers actually realized that the moon was broken despite not adapting that part, which is neat.
Very
Oh yeah,
funny.
it's funny. I couldn't figure out why the moon was broken.
Well, it's hilarious because Sega always never shows it broken, even when they're directly
Yeah.
referencing SA2.
No. No, remember, it's always this unbroken side is always facing the Earth.
Oh yeah,
Apparently.
and maybe Sonic's drinking paint thinner instead of being saving the world.
Yeah.
They draw a lot of shots of everybody really sad and all that. I want to note that like Eggman is like giggling at like a schoolgirl at all of that.
Of course he is.
Of course, yeah.
Well, it's like you have something melodramatic in this big group shot of.
And then we just have Eggman giggling in the corner like a fucking goblin.
This was a total win.
It really
for
was.
him, yeah.
Yeah, Eggman just won.
So yeah, we end off 849,000 light years away.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a different galaxy, by the way.
Yeah, I think that's on purpose.
Yeah.
And we finish with a big beam, and Sonic lands there, and
Surprised he's not. Surprised he's not dead. Because of course he's
Wow.
not dead. Why would they kill him?
I guess that's
Yeah.
why they put an ellipses there. If they didn't, you could say he still looks like he's dead.
I mean, yeah, he does look like he's dead.
Sort of. Yeah.
But
To be,
that is,
I mean that.
but that is it for the 125th issue spectacular. I definitely get your complaints, Lauren. I still think that it's like so far above like the issue 100 milestone.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Well, the issue 100 milestone. I mean, the actual issue 100 milestone, because the one that was in issue 100 was
Either
whatever.
'Cause-
I guess
'cause
either of them, yeah.
in those cases, it basically could have just been a regular numbered issue, and like there was not really any stakes. They weren't cool to look at very much.
Right. Yeah. No. I think that's why.
They
at least I
didn't
enjoyed
kill off
this.
a couple characters, I suppose. Which this one brings more characters back to life than it kills. But I think it's kind of like a schlocky action film, is what it is. Where,
It doesn't have to be good. It's just
Yeah.
enjoyable.
The plot points that are minimally enjoyable are like whatever, and there is annoying contrivances, like you say, but it is kind of just fun to look at, and it's not Like, it's paced okay. It is a one story issue, which is part of it. You know, like we've been asking.
Thank God.
There's no point where I'm like, this is moving. This is super boring. I guess if you're talking about the alliances gathering, then that's too fast. But
Yeah.
Totally.
it doesn't feel like the narrative plays out in a broken manner.
Yeah, I mean, if you gave me the previous issue and this issue on their own, I'd be like, ah, that's a pretty cool story. But in context, it's just completely out of the blue. They're just like, hey, what if we just brought in these random aliens, ramped up all the
Yeah.
stakes like mad, made everyone join together,
It
forget
did
whatever was
need
happening
more.
before.
It did need more build up.
Yeah, there was not enough buildup. Yeah, it's definitely more entertaining to read through, but at least 100 was relevant in the context of the story.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have to rank the specials. We have to rank all the milestones at some point. Because yeah, I do think I would put this above 100, but I don't think I'd put it above any others still. And I wouldn't really put
50
them
or
super close.
75.
Wouldn't put them super close either, personally.
All right. Well,
Yeah, it's just
no, it's
usually there's a big like shadows here. I guess that's the only big status change that we get from this, and he wasn't even important in the story. So
Oh, okay. Well, if you're talking about big status quo changes, that is going to happen. It's just that Sonic is far away, and he won't be back for a while. Next week, we are going to have 5 issues with none of our principal characters at all. 4 issues. It is going to be Sonic alone trying to get home from space.
well, maybe that's something, but yeah, I don't know.
I think you'll find some stuff to like. I don't know if you're going to love it, but that is all going on next time. We will also be completely Penders free for that entire week, so that'll be
Believe it.
refreshing, because even Ballers at his worst, Penders is still more boring. That's not true. We've had a couple points where we like Penders, but mostly he's worse, though.
Yeah, except when Butler suddenly betrays me.
But that is going to be it for tonight. Wow, we went for almost 3 hours. I'll have to slash that down in editing. But it's a fun time. You know, we definitely had a lot of stuff to say, a lot of stuff to be interested in this episode. So, thank you guys for being here with me. Thank you to our audience for watching. If you like this video, please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can reach us at the link tree in the description. I hope you have a great night. See you next week, and take care.